Hello and good evening, everybody. Dadman Walking 55 coming to you live 3 minutes after 7 on the east coast of the U.S. And I've had about, I think it was close to an hour. I don't think it was a fully hour nap because what it was required for. It was a great thing today. We are endorsing naps all the time. We got people in our chat, especially naps are really recommended by the great polar bear himself. So, well, we took one today so that we could be rested up today. Uh, it's a lot of fun. And I will tell you, I picked this background tonight because we're going to actually really kind of, it's going to be using the Force night tonight with the Eclectic Goat, but she's got some idea where she wants to go with things. So we're going to just use the Force, have fun, sit back. Both of us are lack of sleep. So let's see what kind of monumental event we come up with tonight. Maybe, we're shooting for 90 minutes. Who knows? It could be 4 hours, the way we talk. But our background tonight is blood spatter. Blood spatter. Yes. Why? I don't know. Because she loves horror, zombie movies and stuff. So I just figured, why not use blood spatter tonight for our guest? Not saying anything about her, but just saying, I don't know what the hell I'm saying, but let's bring her in. The one, the only, the Eclectic Goat tonight. Hello, Goat.
Good evening. I am
Good
entertained.
evening.
I am
Sorry.
entertained about the fact that Snorta perked up at a nap. That
Yes,
does seem to be completely contradictory.
it's a perk for the bear. Yes, he's always in here promoting the benefits of naps everywhere, all the
I get
time.
I get more alert when talking about sleeping.
Just doesn't seem right. It seems so counterintuitive. How are you tonight, though, Goat?
Also low on sleep. Also
Mm-hmm.
could use a nap, but these things happen.
Yeah.
Adapt and overcome, and am well fed. I had a lovely dinner that my husband made, and
Oh, what did he make?
he threw a steak on the grill, got it to a nice medium rare, and then sliced it up and put it over a salad of fresh veggies from either our place or the neighbors, depending on which vegetable it was.
Mm, what type of meat?
It's a sirloin. Also came from a local farm.
Okay, cool.
Grass fed.
See, I've not had good luck with sirloin. Sirloin has always I could get good sirloin tips at times, but I prefer a ribeye is my kind of meat. But I love the way you say medium rare.
Yep.
All right, that's awesome because at least there's still. I mean, it's not cooked like a hockey putt or cooked hard. That's a big topic of debate around here with our people, with our chats and stuff. So a few people do like their steaks well or medium well, and it's like,
I mean, everyone can be
yeah,
wrong once in a while.
exactly. So yeah, funny. My wife just messaged me. I gotta go pick her up some medicine after the stream. I'm like, what? Anyway, but hey, that's why I'm multitasking. It always comes through. See, I like mine medium rare to medium rare. I mean, I like mine between medium rare and medium. I don't like it quite so raw, but I don't medium. I can live with, but my wife
Medium rare is hard to get.
really, yeah,
Well, it
I could,
just like if you go to a restaurant and you order
yeah,
medium rare, you tend to either get rare or medium. Medium rare seems to be very difficult to, and I think it's
yeah.
because you have to basically cook it rare and then let it sit. And in
Mhm.
restaurants, they don't tend to let it sit. They tend to just grab and go.
Right. Well, my wife actually likes her steak rare. There's something called blue rare. Are you familiar with that?
Pittsburgh Black and Blue.
Yeah, it's like she'll eat hers even rarer than Pittsburgh blue rare. See,
Yeah, given my option, the Pittsburgh Black and Blue is my favorite.
mm,
But it tends to make my husband a little squeamy, so we compromise.
see, I can deal with it. I mean, especially if we go out and pay for it, it's like, I want her to make sure she has it the way she wants to have it, and because I mean, they really don't do a good job of cooking a truly rare steak in the steakhouses because it's like she said, it's like they're afraid of it. They treat it like pork or hamburger, things like that. When you don't have the same risk with it, but her joke is that she likes her steak so rare a good vet could bring it back to life.
They technically, I don't know if it's a state regulation or a federal regulation, but there are regulations around how rare they can do it in a restaurant. So it's a legality thing. I got to the point where when I went to restaurants, and they asked how I wanted, I would say, I will take it as rare as you will give it to me.
Okay, yeah, she's had to
Um,
order it like that before too. Yeah, yeah. See, when I'm
Pitts,
at home, I really will do it 30 seconds each side. It comes out nice and rare.
the Pittsburgh Black and Blue is really difficult because you have to get a pan and heat it up really, really hot with a
Mm-hmm.
lot of butter in it, and then because the whole point is you basically burn the outside and it's raw in the middle.
Okay.
Um, and sometimes they're not willing to do that in restaurants because it ends up needing extra dishes and it takes up more grill. Like you can't do it on the grill; you have to do it on the stove. And
Okay.
um,
Well, hey, it's funny. We were wondering what we're going to talk about. We jump out right into steak. I love it.
well, it's a
But yeah,
fabulous topic.
I know. See, I like the ribeye as a better cut. I like to have some fat in my steak. It's
Um,
for the
I do,
marbling, for the flavor. Yeah,
I
go
do
ahead.
too, but generally, if I order ribeyes, so normally when we're not really broke, um,
Mm-hmm.
I we order about a half a cow a year from a local farm where it's all grass fed,
Mm-hmm.
and we get it hanging weight, and a half a cow usually takes us through about a year.
Oh wow.
Um, and cost wise and cut wise, there's just no better way to order a ribeye. So like
Mm-hmm.
even just it just doesn't taste right otherwise.
No.
Um, and what we did in this particular case is from a different local farm. They do meat packs, and so we spent about $120 and got like 7 pounds of chicken thighs and 4 pounds of beef and 3 pounds of stew meat and a 2 pound steak and a 3 pound roast and
Yeah.
um,
Wow.
so that's you're a little bit limited on what you can get with those, and ribeyes do not
Yeah.
ribeyes do not
Well,
make the
guess
cut.
what?
But
I'm getting hungry now as we're talking about it. At least you had dinner, so but you ate, I had a nap, so we're kind of balanced out there. Well, as we continue to talk, let's go ahead and say hi to everybody in the chat. We got the great bear himself, the man, the bear that promotes naps aplenty. Snorter Poopus Cuber. Howdy, sir. We got Fallout Dave saying, hey, good to see you. Of course, the great Eclectic Goat. Oh, there she is. She's right here, sticking her tongue out at you, folks. And of course, the nap, yes, a perk. Absolutely, it is. Let's see, a high cream here seen tongue. What is hearsay? Is that referring to
I
a
think
goat?
they're referencing the fact that the tongue is sticking out on mine.
Oh, okay. All right. Star Poop said medium rare for a bear or just grabbed and eaten raw. There you go. And here's the lady, the queen of the channel, and her rare steaks herself. Mrs. Hello. How are you? And she's now spending a couple weeks with her mom, actually, over in the panhandle. So she is remote tonight. And she said blue rare is impossible restaurants to cook. We usually always have to send it back at least once because even the managers come back and they're like, that's not blue. I mean, blue rare, because when they end up getting it to us, it's within the standards, but the first one is almost more of a medium rare, and she says she has his parameters. If it's at least at a certain point, she will take it and we'll eat it. And of course, I'm sitting there, if I'm paying the price of steak dinners now, it's like, it better be right.
Well, the other thing too is that I think there are a couple issues. One is I how I order a steak will sometimes depend on the restaurant because there are
Mm-hmm.
restaurants I definitely trust to give me a rare steak more than, other places where I suspect they sneeze on their hands a lot.
Okay.
Um so there's a certain amount of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think too they like you say you want it ultra rare and then I think they just don't believe people.
Right. Right. Yeah. They're all so they do that just a little bit over, like you said, they don't believe it. So I got it. I know. Yeah, we learned about the term blue stairs. We have to use the Pittsburgh term though, just to see. Speaking of that, Max Redstone, he's here. Black and blue, please, aka Pittsburgh rare, not impossible to cook with the right equipment. Yeah, good to see
Yeah,
you. Oh,
that was what
mhm.
made me think about the fact that sometimes they don't want to dirty the dishes.
Yeah, exactly. Kitchen with an infrared broiler, and of course, yeah, like misses. We're not sure about the regulations. We didn't know about that, but it's kind of like they could tell us that sometimes. And Snortopoopas is eating already. Let's go. Oh, and now Max says to Snortopoopas, let's order some cows. And hello, Captain Finity. Time travel, please. Good to see you today. Hope you're doing well. And Poopy. And we got Moo. All right, let's leave the cattle alone though tonight, Snortopoopas, please. Yeah, agrees. Yeah, I agree about the restaurant, and they believe me when I send it back. So yeah, because it's usually when it gets sent back, it's more of a medium rare, And there's a big difference between a rare and a medium rare steak. I mean, you may not think that it is, but it really, really is. So,
I think the cut of meat makes a difference too. I mean, like if
mm-hmm,
you order something like a, I don't know,
mm-hmm,
brisket or a flank steak or something like that, like you're not going to eat those rare. Like you want those cooked down like really thoroughly.
yeah,
Um, and the cow can make a difference sometimes. I once, like I said, we get about a half a cow a year, and there was one year they couldn't. They were so busy they couldn't get to butchering their own cows,
wow,
and so
okay,
by the time they got to it, the cow that we were supposed to get half of had grown up a little more than normal,
mm.
and it was a little bit older,
Oh,
and instead of costing us $800 for half a cow, it cost us $1,400 for half a cow,
okay.
and that lasted us well over a year.
Oh, I bet. Yes, that's a
Um,
lot. It sounds like a lot of money, but you can eat quite a well on it for a long time.
oh yeah, I mean, you figure, yeah, $1,400 sounds like a lot, but if you never have to buy beef again for the rest of the
Mm-hmm.
year, um,
Yeah, that's true. Hello, and hello, Rio. How are you tonight? Good to see you. Hopefully, you're doing well. Good to see you. Max loves his ribs, beef ribs. Finity wants two cows and whatever. The friend's having. Snorter Poopa says one cow is a snack for a bear. Oh, Max, no, obviously not. You need more than one cow. So, I'm just going to show this picture. Pulled up a website from billyprecy.com. This is an example of the black and blue rare steak here. They really get it charred on the outside, and you can see inside it is. See, that almost looks like still too cooked for some people, but that
when they're that thick, it's
mhm,
very difficult to get the whole thing
right,
purple.
right,
Because I mean, there is still a difference between rare and raw.
right. Okay, yes, yes, there is. There is that.
You have to at least warm it up in the middle.
Do you have to really? I don't think snorter poopers and polar bears care if it's really worth up. Oh, by the way, he's saying also the mass supports your cost. A decent restaurant steak. Yes, agreed. $30 or more. Yes, yes, exactly. That is for sure what that. And that's what I tell you what. Honestly, that's why I've gotten pickier with the restaurants. Is that you know I really it's just my wife to send it back if it's not right because you're spending so much money for something and you want it right. I mean, it's okay if it's close. You hate wasting, but if it's definitely not within, if it's not even close, send it back because you're spending usually around $25 to $32 for a steak meal. So,
Well, and that's one of the reasons I almost never go out because, first of all, when you're ordering local grass fed beef that, you know, the cow was walking in a field up the road 2 days ago,
mhm,
um, when we buy a cow, it's $4.25 a pound hanging weight, no matter what the cut is. And that
mhm,
includes cutting and packaging.
right,
or I can go to the store and get a steak that is, I mean, it's the same butcher, so it's probably, you know, the same, but it's been in a freezer. It's not as fresh. Um, and it's, you know, anywhere from 15 to $19 a pound, depending on if I want a ribeye.
Hmm.
And honestly, if I cook the steak, I can cook it exactly the way I want it. So it's
That's true. Yes, that's why a lot of people do insist on eating at home because they feel like they can't that they know how to cook it. They can cook it right at home and better than any restaurant can. Although I will say, my wife did go to Golden Corral once, and they did a good job. Of all the places that really cooked a really rare steak, they did. They took pride in serving her something really, really rare. Because it's like she said, there was once at a restaurant uh, asked if they're not confident in the steak, so they were afraid to cook it rare.
well, the
Yeah.
problem is though that the places I have seen that would cook it like very rare
Hmm.
were the places with the nastiest kitchens.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
just didn't care.
No.
They would break the federal regulations because they did not care.
Yeah. Well, but hey, they'll do it right. That's the thing. Forget it if you want choice or prime meat. Yeah, Wagyu beef. Yeah, I know that's very expensive. That's a very top quality type of beef. I'm not into that types of selections, but it's really interesting how we got in this topic. We were talking about just where we were going with this, and it's like it's funny that we've done this. Have you ever heard of sous vide cooking?
Is that the one where you like boil it and then
I
sear it or
Yes,
something?
yeah. You put it in a
Yeah, it
bag, and
sounds disgusting.
thank you. I know we got a friend Marty with a C that does the sous vide. He swears by it too. But they put it in a bag and you boil it, and I just I and then you put it on a I. This is just some pictures of how you would do it. To me, I don't. It pan fry, get some grill marks on it. That's what I think with a steak. You can see some of the pictures here. Here's another one they got because you still have to end up cooking it, but boiling it in a bag, I just never. I don't know. It just seems.
I mean, I know people that do that with like if they're gonna put chicken on the grill, they'll
Hmm.
boil it so they make sure it's cooked all the way through.
Right.
Um, and then they baste it and sear it so it gets the nice
Yeah.
um
Get some nice grill markings and yeah, actually it
well
makes
this and the smoke, you know, the kind of smokiness. And
yeah. So it actually tastes like a steak. Yeah. I don't know. I have a
well,
problem with what. Go ahead.
I can see it with chicken. I don't get it with.
Yeah, they say that sous vide steak is meant to be eaten as soon as it is done cooking. So which it actually the recipe that I had here with the pictures it said it's how to reheat it. They said the recipe does not reheat well. So, but if you do reheat it, then re-sear it in a hot pan with lightly smoked oil until warm.
Mhm.
So they do that. So yeah, I know, but Max, it's not. You do have a bag of water. It just doesn't. It seems foreign to me. That's to me. And hey, Jess is here. So Jess, good to see you. How are you doing? Good to see you. Sort of like pressure cooking using water. Yeah, that's kind of the way it says, but it's so foreign to me because my thing is like ribs and stuff. Just throw them on the grill, let them go, add it, and that's how you do it. Smart people said Max said you don't want to place that cook it rare because they are lazy. Not necessarily. They can do it right, but store people said some states won't let you order rare beef
Yeah,
or eggs
that's what I
or
was talking about earlier. Was
or,
I
or
wasn't sure if it was state or feds, but
well, or eggs sunny side up. Oh my gosh, those seem both. I don't know. I don't eat eggs. I just a personal thing, but I know a lot of
what?
people do. Yeah, I can't. I can't. It's is there a component ingredient of a product? Fine. I can. I finally got used to dealing with egg in fried rice. For all these years, I picked out the egg out of fried rice. It, my mom used to make potato salad when I was growing up, and God, the way she boiled the eggs, it smelled the house like sulfur, and I just
Okay,
could
so
not.
boiled eggs I get, but like no eggs at all.
No, no sunny side, no
But that means
scrambled.
but that
No,
means no breakfast hash.
well, you just do it without the eggs. You just use extra bacon and grits
Then it's
and
not
just
breakfast hash.
I potatoes, plenty of that. My type of breakfast hash are hash browns at the Waffle House. So, oh yeah, I'm like I'll get something that has with eggs. I'll just slide it over to the missus. But it's
You
very
would starve to
psychological.
death here.
Probably, probably, probably. And I've tried. It's not like I haven't tried. I it's when I start. I mean, whether scrambled or whatever, you put ketchup on it. Doesn't matter. It's like it just there's a psychological thing that I can't. It it, it doesn't make sense, but I don't know. But I will eat it if I don't see it. So
That's like the farmer fallback. We're broke. We have no groceries. Go out and
yeah.
see what the chick. Go out and see what the chickens have crapped out this morning.
Yeah, I tell you, you learn. I mean, I think if I had to, I think I'd have to learn how to eat them. But yeah, you're right. You eat what you got. Just like the sous vide egg bite Starbuck has, or at least back when we went a few years ago. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, my wife's with her family. I mean, it's almost like a small zoo out there. They've got a baby quail, a larger quail. They got chickens. I mean, they got all kinds of things that they grow for the eggs and even meat in some cases. So it's bunnies, all that stuff. So so we're used to you know, people in farming and raising some livestock for eggs and other issues. So and
Oh
those
yeah, I
yeah,
get I get funny looks about raising rabbits for meat all the time, but I've never run into the egg thing before.
yeah, oh yeah, the missus said we should eject states from the union that outlaw the rare steaks and eggs. Oh, Max Redstone sous vide. Okay, sous vide. Yes, I got it. So Dave
Well,
says it's hmm?
in that case, I want to know what your opinion and the chat's opinion is on raw milk.
Okay, folks out there, what do you think? There's one thing I wanted to say because Mrs. is going into lurk mode, but there was something. Let's see. Yes, right here. Then you go out to dinner, and Mrs. Dadman steals your side. Yes, she got his cream of Creole crawfish chowder when we met up in Louisiana last year. Yeah, she ordered that as a dinner, as a bowl, and they brought a cup apparently, and Max apparently it was Max's uh, chowder, and Mrs. ate it, and then hers came, and then Max was like, "Where did this chowder go?" Well, she ate it, so hey, and we have a story ever since then. So Max has not forgotten that. So
Max, I'm allergic to shellfish. You would not have to worry about me.
yeah, oh yeah, oh well, gosh, yeah, you got to be careful because you've with some of the things that you have, so
The soy issue is so much worse than shellfish. Shellfish is easy.
yeah. Oh, would you like a mixed egg, Mr. Angel? Good to see you, Finity. Did I miss Mr. Angel? But yeah, I mean, so yeah, I know both of those are very bad allergies, but the soy is worse. I mean, I guess the soy
It's
is a
har- it's
worse.
it's harder. It's much harder.
When you say harder, what do you mean? Is it harder to avoid or
Yeah, it's
the
it's 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 in everything, and people very frequently don't know what to look for on the ingredient labels. So, like, if you go to something like I'm trying to find a restaurant that would actually exist everywhere. It does Is Panera a thing
yeah,
everywhere?
Panera's down here. Yeah, we got a
So
Panera here.
if you go to Panera and you say, "I need to see the food allergy list so I can find something without soy," they will tell you that the only things that they have with soy in them are the things that have American cheese on them. But if
Oh,
you look at the
interesting.
if you look at the actual ingredient list, the only thing I can eat at a Panera is tomato soup with no croutons.
The only wow. Yeah, I guess you probably won't go to Panera if you have any choice about it, or or if you're in a big mood for tomato soup.
There are only about, is it 6 restaurants I can eat at? Something like
Ooh,
that.
wow.
Um,
That,
Buffalo Wild Wings cooks their chicken wings in beef tallow, so that's fine. I
okay.
have to be careful what I order, and I can only eat like 2 of the sauces, but at least I can eat something.
Mm-hmm.
I can eat at Five Guys because they use peanut oil.
Mm-hmm.
And while I am also allergic to legumes, peanuts are the exception, so I'm good there. There is a pizza place that I can eat. Well, actually, we're not sure. I was able to eat there, but the last several times I've been there, I've had a bad reaction. So they've changed their French fries and they've changed a couple of their other dishes.
Where's that? At?
So that's a local place. It's
That's
not
local
a
place. Yeah.
um so this is rural living for you. There are no restaurants within 45 minutes of my house. So the gas
Wow. Yep.
station makes pretty good pizza.
Yep. Yep.
And there is the one gas station near our house that does decent pizza I can eat.
Well,
Um,
that's
but I
good.
can't, but I can't eat anything else there.
Oh, geez. Wow. Well, Finity
Um,
says, that especially down south here where we are, roadkill. You know, he said, rural where he is, if you see a dead pheasant on the road, it's lunch.
it seems like it'd be
Oh,
pretty bruised, but
yeah. Hey.
pheasant is pretty hard to come by though. So,
Yeah. Well.
um, and then there is one local bar and grill that makes, yes, so the thing is that soy lecithin is not required to be declared because even most people that are allergic to soy can eat soy lecithin. I cannot.
Hmm.
Um, but MSG is a product that is made from it's a waste product after making soy sauce, so nothing with MSG in it. Xanth gum, which is used, or guar gum, which are thickeners in almost every, like cottage cheese has guar gum in it. They are both byproducts of soy. Um, yeah, it's almost no, well, no fast food.
Really,
Almost no
you don't
processed.
consider Five Guys fast food?
I consider it sort of. I refer to it as half fast. Um,
I think of
because
half-assed. Sorry.
it's
Oh,
because they do make every
yeah.
burger to order.
Right.
They
Right.
make every order of French fries to order, so they're
Yeah.
quick, but they aren't technically fast food.
I'm sorry. The way that word goes together, I think of you said the
Oh
way
yeah,
you
that's
said it.
I do it
Yeah,
that way. I do
half
it that way
fast. Yeah.
intentionally because it's funny.
So basically, what you're talking about in terms of fast food would really be like the McDonald's, Burger Kings, those that
Yeah,
are truly fast food.
yeah, and Arby's, any of those things.
Hmm.
Um, Wendy's is really the only one. Well, I don't know. Every once in a while, I get a hankering for a Whopper, but not very often.
Right.
But I mean, I hadn't eaten McDonald's since like 2000 anyway, so
Right.
that wasn't a big deal.
But if you had to
Um,
drive 45 miles, at least 45 minutes, it's like anyway.
yeah,
I'm, I'm,
but
yeah.
you have to understand we have to drive ridiculous distances everywhere anyway. So,
Hmm.
um, I mean, I can't go grocery shopping without driving 45 minutes. So,
Jeez. But I tell you what, it is nice living out in the rural areas, though. It's got its advantages too. But you learn
it
how
does.
to, you have to learn though to have to economize when you go into town where things are.
I do have to say that I wish if I was going to not have the advantages of living in town, I wish that we had more of the advantages of living outside of town because we do have neighbors that are kind of close.
Hmm.
I would prefer to, never see my neighbors unless I really wanted to.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. I, my wife is kind of like that. That's what's so funny. But yeah, where they live, they have a few acres of property, so they are spread out between houses. So, uh, it is nice. I tell you, I do like being out in the country a little bit more. It does make a nice spread out. But I don't know. I'm not one that likes those long drives to get back to civilization. You mentioned beef tallow earlier. Okay, I have only been recently aware of this whole issue because it's made national news. My wife's even mentioned about beef tallow. Steak and Shake recently made a big promotion that their French fries are now cooked with beef tallow again, and beef
Hmm.
tallow had been used. What is beef tallow? Why is it? I guess
Beef
why
tallow.
do people really love it so much? Because I think you said that you liked it, didn't you?
Well, it's one of the few things I can eat.
Yeah.
So beef tallow is what like all fast food used to get cooked in. Most restaurants cooked in it. And then there was this whole thing about how beef, beef fat was bad for you, and so they drove everyone towards vegetable oil.
Right.
Well, vegetable oil doesn't taste as good, and it now turns out it's actually worse for you than beef fat.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason they said it was bad for us, but the actual issue was it was cheaper to
Mm.
to use vegetable oil than beef tallow. Um,
Now, when you say vegetable oil, are you including the seed oils like the peanut
Vegetable
oil?
oil is very frequently just a mix of whatever they could buy the cheapest.
Okay.
Um, and it almost always contains soy because soy is cheap.
Okay.
Um, so beef tallow is more expensive, and that was the real reason they wanted people to move away from beef tallow.
Mm-hmm.
But it now turns out that beef tallow is actually better for you, and so it's a big deal for the restaurants that are. It's a selling point for the restaurants that are moving back.
Right. I understand. At least what I've heard is there is a definite a taste difference
Oh
for it.
yeah, absolutely.
So, and that's what I don't remember. I see. I never put two and two together years ago. I do remember when they started changing ingredients and different products, and and you could tell there was a difference. I mean, hell, even like friggin' Dunkin' Donuts isn't the same these days because they changed how they make the donuts and stuff, and it's like
Yeah,
they're
there is no more. It's time to make the donuts commercials.
yeah. No wonder they got rid of the commercials. And I tell you, if you go take a Dunkin' Donut now, I will eat them because they are what they are. I guess, especially if you want something sweet like that, but they're not the same. And you compare them to like a mom and pop bakery. It's like I'm going to go to the mom and pop bakery any day because they still do it right. But
I'm probably not going to be able to go to either. So
well, we'll
um,
eat them for you. How's that?
there's a local bakery that makes bread that we get when I don't have time to make any,
Yeah.
and they use canola oil,
Mm,
um, which is weird because bread shouldn't really have oil in it at all. But
no.
um,
No.
but they started making donuts, and they had apple cider donuts, which they are one of the few things I really desperately miss. And so I asked them, um, "Do what do you use to cook your donuts in?" And she said, "Oh, soybean oil." And I said, "Well, it's not in your ingredient list." The reason I
Hmm.
thought to ask her was that they did not have oil listed in the ingredients at all. I said, "That's not on your ingredient list. Like, you really need to include that." And she said, "No, I don't. It's not an ingredient. It's just what I cook them in."
Yeah, but it contacts it. It could still
I
cause
was like, I was like, "You
a
could still
reaction.
kill someone."
Yeah. Yeah.
And what happened was, I just was like, "Well, I just won't eat the donuts." What happened was, I have eaten their bread. I don't even know how many times. Like, we've lived here for 5 years. I buy their bread probably at least once every couple weeks.
Mm.
Um, so I've eaten a lot of their bread. I've never had a problem. And then one day I got violently ill.
Ooh.
And
Yeah.
my suspicion is she ran out of canola oil, and because she had soybean oil left
Yeah.
from cooking the donuts, she probably just put it in, didn't change the label on the bread because she
Right.
very obviously thought, well, I don't really care. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Um, but I was very, very sick.
Well, we're
Um,
going to follow
and
up
it's
on that.
and it's
Yeah.
and it's never happened again. So
Well, yeah, because that one time. And Snortopoopus, I'm like you. I want to eat my fries when they're hot, you know. And hey, Nerd Takes, great to see you tonight. Great to see you. Folks. Hit that like button, folks. We got 5 likes and we got 11 to 12 people here. So make sure you smash that like button. We got the great Eclectic Goat with us. Because I tell you what really has happened is that we, yeah, that there's a reason they will say made in a facility with. It's like even going into Five Guys. I've had to learn, you know, food allergies are a serious thing. You know, when my family grew up, allergies were always, you know, you take a sinus pill, that type of allergies. Was never food. It was like, well, what's wrong with you? And one of our oldest kid now is celiac, and so you know they've had to learn how to deal with stuff like that because it does have ramifications, and especially like with the bakery right there, they're doing that. You know, we have to be careful that you know they have dedicated fryers. You know that they're not cross contamination is a huge thing in a lot of places, and one of the biggest dangers and risks you have in the restaurants. And like what happened to me once, I'm not. I mean, I eat fish. I have no allergies like that. But we went to a national steakhouse, and I hate salmon. I hate salmon because it just
Man,
it
you're just
talks.
a weirdo.
I am, but it smells. It smells. Hey, listen, I embrace my weirdness. You know.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
If the salmon smells, it's bad salmon. Salmon should not have a smell.
Well, it's a smelly taste. You know, like a lot of people complain about like flounder or cod having a fishy smell. There, every flounder, every salmon I've had has always had
You're
this.
buying old salmon.
Well, then that must be the restaurant chain doing it because I mean, I'm like, I mean, I've always had it with a smell. But what they did this one time, they actually, I ordered a steak. Obviously, come out. I bit into that. I couldn't even finish biting into it. I could smell the salmon. I could taste the salmon uh, on the steak because they had cross contaminated it. They cooked the steak where they had just cooked the salmon, and you know, allergies are a huge thing to a lot of people. That can, like you said, they can kill people. And in that case,
I
with the
mean, most restaurants do say if you have allergies, please let us know.
yeah,
I mean, I technically, if you medically, I technically have a food intolerance. It's
right,
just a very severe one.
hmm
An allergy, I would actually like, break out into hives or go into anaphylactic shock or something like that. I just get really sick and I get terrible migraines that last for days.
right,
Um, so technically it's a food intolerance, but I have to tell restaurants that it's an allergy because if they hear intolerance, they think it doesn't matter.
right, right,
And it's a real issue because, like, it used to be, especially in areas that had a high Jewish population, they would keep fast food places would keep a separate grill, or a high Catholic population for that matter, if they weren't supposed to eat meat on Fridays. um, they would keep a separate grill.
hmm
And they don't do that anymore. So it is incredibly difficult to get food.
hmm, yeah,
I mean, when was the last time you walked into some place that had breakfast sandwiches and there wasn't ham or bacon or sausage on them? All of which are
well,
pork, all of which many
yeah,
Orthodox religions can't eat.
right, right, yeah,
And
that,
I'm not Orthodox, but I don't eat pork. So
yeah. I A lot of people don't eat pork. Yeah, and hey, speaking of food, we got the great Sashi from Malaysia. Hey, Sashi, how are you tonight?
can we just call you sushi? Because that would fit with the pattern of the evening.
I think he wouldn't mind. I think you know he always sends the missus a lot of Asian recipes and stuff over there. So from the great country of Malaysia, good to see us, Sashi. Oh God, that's so funny. Yeah, Sashi's a great guy. He I'm sure he'll say. I think he actually probably has said yeah. I called him sushi once before, but we'll make sure. But great to have you coming in. Everybody coming in tonight. Yeah, it never fails. When he hears when we talk food, he appears. It's it's like a bat signal, you know. So, but yeah, it's and I understand why you have to say you have to call everything an allergy because I if you're not careful, people will ignore it or trivialize it because an intolerance can
Yeah, it doesn't
really
sound
lead to,
it doesn't
yeah.
sound like that big a deal. And the issue is that like somebody mentioned cross contamination.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Cross contamination doesn't bother me, but
Okay,
even the smallest amount in it will. So I can't eat eggs that come from chickens that are fed a soy diet because it collects in the yolks.
right. Wow.
Um,
But yeah,
Again,
yeah.
I'm gonna get sick.
Well,
So
no,
it's
the other
a
thing,
good thing I own chickens.
well, the other thing, like in your case, is if you go out to eat and you're an hour away from home, you can't afford to get sick on the way home when there's nowhere to pull over and stop. Depending on what the reactions are. And
Yeah,
Sasha said he's okay with being called sushi. The most common mistake made on my name.
don't worry, I get called electric all the time. So
Yeah, and by the way, they're talking about making sunglasses about edging. So, not sunglasses, but lenses, glasses. So it's it's a running joke around here. So, uh, but but how do you see? I had a question in my head that kind of just left me there for a second. But the sushi, how are you able to eat sushi, or do you not like it, or do you have to deal with that because of allergies or
I
intolerance?
I love sushi. I just can't have soy sauce on it.
Ah, okay.
I am allergic to shellfish. Sorry, since we're using correct terminology. I
Yeah.
am intolerant to shellfish, but not to fish.
Okay. That that's interesting. But
So no
I'm,
lobster, no mussels, no shrimp. I miss shrimp the most.
I
That was an
know.
allergy. That was an allergy I developed later in life,
Hmm.
and I found out the hard way.
Oh, yeah. It can. If you have that allergy, it can hit you really, really hard. Now, are clams considered shellfish?
Yeah, they're a different kind of shellfish, and some people can eat one but not the other. I can't eat either of them. So,
We got that. And by the way, Snorta Poopa says your name sounds like a rock band.
well, because he spelled it electric. It's
Oh,
not
the
electric.
electric.
It's eclectic.
Yes, yes, the eclectic, meaning she's very special. She's a very special goat. So, yeah, yeah.
I
Oh,
mean, really, it means weird. But
well, I know Dave has to be careful. He does cooking at a residence place, and yeah, you have to be careful when you're dealing with allergies. And like you had mentioned too, a lot of places that they'll ask for attention. That's one thing with Disney that they were always great with, is if you mentioned a food allergy, they would send a chef out to you with pen and paper and read your options and write it down. And they had dedicated fryers, and they really went above and beyond. To make sure that, to try to prevent a bad experience, because you definitely don't want to go to a theme park like that, or even their hotels or campgrounds, and end up spend 2 days in on your back or in bed because you ate something you're not supposed to.
yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, so I've been looking at pictures so that I
Hmm.
could like share stuff with you.
Okay.
Just for
The
the
eclectic guitar. All right, there you go. So we'll get one of those fancified dulcimer things from the Appalachians or something, or we'll figure, or something from the old days. Self is constantly monitored for contaminants, so absorb anything that's in the water. Absolutely. Oh man. Ah. Yeah, Dave. Okay, you ready for me to share?
Yep.
All right, here we go.
I'll have to kind of back and forth a little bit a few times,
Yes.
but
No, that's fine. So what are we looking at here?
this is the first stage of beef tallow.
Oh, okay.
You were asking about beef tallow earlier.
Mm-hmm.
You take this, you throw it in the crock pot for several hours on warm, and then you take it and strain out all of the little bits that are actually meat, and then like slow cool it off and jar it, and it will last forever. Not really forever, but it'll last a very long time.
Yeah.
Um, it does, since you're apparently very sensitive to smell.
Right.
It does smell a little bit odd when you're cooking with it.
Hmm.
Um, but if you make cornbread with either beef fat or duck fat,
Mm-hmm.
it's amazing.
Oh wow. Okay. So that's what it looks like. Oh, that's interesting.
Well, that's the first stage. I mean, eventually it
First
just
stage.
goes into little jars, and it's this nice smooth. I mean, it basically looks like jarred butter.
Okay. Well, but still, I've never seen it before, so that's really really cool. Yeah, Jess said even intolerance could cause problems at a theme park. Those bathrooms.
Uh huh. Yep.
Yeah, definitely,
Um.
definitely. Yeah, feel free. We love pictures. We love pictures like that. So,
Okay. So, quiz time.
okay,
What
quiz time.
what color is turkey meat?
Okay, I want to say white, but that's probably not the answer since you say it. I would say pink.
Do we have votes from the chat?
Okay, folks in the chat, what color is turkey meat? Let's see. Oh, do you need a timeout? Purple with blue spots. Dave. All right. Anybody else? Come on. What color is turkey meat, folks? So you're talking about raw before being cooked, right?
Yes. Yep.
What color is raw turkey meat, folks? Let's white. Max says white. Any other guesses? Any other answers out there? I feel like a carnival barker or pink. Snort Poopa says pink. So now raise your blue. Raise your blue. So yeah, too dense. I know, Dave. I know. Rio says pink. Hey, Rio, you're still here. Good to see you.
Hey,
Dave
Rio.
says pink. Yep. Yep. So we got pinks. We got pinks, white, and a purple with blue spots.
Interestingly, the purple with blue spots is the closest.
No way. Please don't tell me. Really? You know what this is going to do for his ego?
Can you see
Like,
that? Can you bring the picture up?
yeah. Oh
So
my God.
the turkey on the left is a store-bought turkey. The turkey on the right is a pasture-raised free-range turkey.
Okay, my first question
They are
is
they are the same cut.
look at that. Dave changed his answer. Dave, you know the old rule. Never go against your first answer. Oh,
Um,
so okay.
yeah, turkey
What?
turkey turkey is basically a red meat. It's just that when they stick them in close confinement and they can't move, you end up and you raise turkeys that have these like gigantic breasts so that they can't like move around very much, and they're like they will literally break their own legs under their own weight.
Now,
Um, they can't move the muscles, so the muscles never develop, and they
mhm.
just end up with this like pale, nasty looking
You're
whatever you want
talking
to call
about
it.
the one on the left, the store,
Yes.
the
Yep.
non-farm one. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so they're not allowed to move and develop. Okay, that's interesting because that's what I was asking is why the color difference. So, and the one on the right is because that they're able to move around and develop. Oh, interesting. I
They
never
can they
knew
can
that.
move they can move around, they can peck at bugs, they can fly, um they will very frequently run up and sit next to my chair while I'm out working and beg to be patted like a dog.
Really?
Oh yeah. I mean, it depends on the turkey. Turkeys are either very sweet or raging assholes. Like, there's no in between.
Well, most turkeys I've seen are the raging assholes. So the two-legged, well, the human version and the fowl version. So,
They're a little bit like geese. They're very territorial of their people, and they
hmm
don't deal with change well. So if you get an adult turkey, it's likely to be a jerk because it doesn't know you,
okay.
and it doesn't adapt well. But like right now, we have 5 baby turkeys sitting out back with our broilers, and they literally will stand next to the door and peep until I like pick them up every evening when I go to feed them.
Oh, interesting.
So
Now, are they like chickens where you really only have one male to a bunch of hens, or can you have several males together that actually
no,
can spin?
we've had several males together. Usually you get a male to I don't know 2, 3, sometimes 4. They're not like geese. They're not
Mhm.
monogamous. They don't mate for life, but they're also not like chickens where they want like 15 hens to themselves.
Right, yeah, because I know those roosters are badasses. I mean, you don't put two roosters together because they're always fighting. You got your alpha rooster, yeah. So, but
We have 2 roosters together right now, but one of them was raised by the other one.
Right.
And so the pecking order is kind of pre-established. But yeah, if we were ever to bring in a new rooster, that would be a disaster.
Oh, I know my brother-in-law, my sister, her first husband, actually second husband, they had a rooster and some hens in the city, and I was just like, that was a badass rooster. Everybody, he attacked everybody, he attacked them, and it was just like, I'm like, if it was me or my dad, we would just, hey, we're gonna have fried chicken tonight. Yeah, roosters are mean cocks. Yeah, I know. Snortopoopus has that. Oh, I love also before he said, sounds like a bear, just saying, but mostly a raging asshole. So, and Rio says, let's see, get it here. Rio says a turkey only has one purpose: served as meat. Now, do turkeys don't? I mean, I know quail have eggs, chickens have eggs, but turkeys are not known for eggs.
Which is very weird because so my aunt is very much city folk, and
Mm-hmm.
she does not like to eat anything weird. She is addicted to turkey eggs.
Oh, so you can't. Oh, interesting. Okay.
Um,
Have you had them personally yourself?
I have not because I prefer to hatch turkeys.
Okay. Well, have you seen the? I mean, how do they cook up, or how do they present and compare
They're
to like
very
chicken or quail?
so they're about the size of a duck egg, but duck eggs have a thicker white and the yolk to white ratio, like the yolks are larger.
Mm-hmm.
Turkeys are closer percentage wise to chicken eggs, and they don't have that really thick white to them. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but they are about the size of a duck egg, so they're about a chicken egg and a half.
Hmm. Okay.
And all the ones I've ever gotten were kind of pale with a lot of spots on them.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
kind of
Yeah,
like giant guinea eggs. Guinea eggs also are all spotted.
yeah, because I never until just now never ever thought about turkeys and eggs because you always think about them for the bird for Thanksgiving dinner or turkey breast or stuff like that. Not eggs, but hey, I
Well, they
guess like
don't. They're like geese in the sense that they don't lay for very long.
mm-hmm,
And they only lay. I mean, even if you pull them, they only lay. Oh, I don't know, maybe 20.
mm-hmm.
They're just
Wow.
not. They're not really. You can't farm them for eggs in the same way. You could get a few, for fun um in the springtime, but there again,
Yeah.
like when your choice is chicken eggs or which you're
Mm-hmm.
getting tons of or all right, this is not a great picture. I'm not
Oh,
not
don't say
delighted.
that. I love it with the goat with his tongue out. That's really a great picture.
Oh, no,
So,
no, no. I had another fun food fact for you.
cool.
Um,
Oh, by the way,
but
let me ask you this question. Let me squeeze this question in real quick. Is there such a thing as factoid?
what?
Factoid.
I need a context because
Well, some places talk. We got facts, and sometimes you'll see the word factoid used, and it's like a
mhm.
little piece of trivia or something.
Yeah, I mean it's a little fact. It's not a
Okay, some people say that that's not a real term though, but I just was curious.
pretty sure it is. I think it's just
Okay,
not a very commonly used term.
yeah, okay. Well, that's cool. I know you're an expert on uh, language and editing, so that's very, yeah. The word is definitely familiar. Uh, Snorpoo said important tip: the rabbit eggs aren't eggs. Okay. And so turkey eggs are low yield. Yeah. Okay. All right. We're ready. You got another picture?
Yeah, I'm trying to like at least tweak it enough that you can see it properly.
Okay. Well, that's fine. Well, that's cool. Everybody, make sure you hit that like button. We appreciate y'all being here with the Eclectic Goat. We'll put her link out. If one of my mods can get her link out, that way I'll store it for later. This is a goat's third appearance on the channel already in what, probably less than 2 months or 3 months. It's like, that's like a record showing for anybody in a while on the channel. And these are the type of conversations we have. We learn. We come together.
I shoot my
Tonight,
mouth off a lot.
yeah, exactly. We always say we're going to be quick, and then it's like 3 hours later. But and we're like, where did the time go? But tonight we're actually kind of winging it, to borrow a food term. A bit, because we're had a thought about talking about movies, something heavy, specifically like battle royale type movies and stuff. But
Yeah. So that was where I was going to start this. We need to talk about the fact that you've never seen Battle Royale.
Well, what's funny is we're 55 minutes in, and that's what you were going to say. Hey, welcome to a squirrel stream, Goat. This is why we call them the squirrel streams. We just start or we end up going to completely unplanned areas. So, yeah. But did you want to show the picture first? Then we can get into that.
Well, here I have to scroll through some of these, but I'll make everyone hungry by scrolling through while I'm.
Well, we got 15 here on YouTube. Thank y'all, folks. 2 on the Twitch side. All right, are you ready for me to show it?
Yeah, I'm just gonna flip through while I'm talking because I'm trying to find.
Oh, I love that. I love Finity right here. If a factoid isn't true, it should be called a fictionoid. Nice. I love that. Okay, what have we got here?
Beef ribs.
Oh man.
They were getting ready to go in the smoker.
Oh man.
This I think this is the last time I made challah bread. That's why it's so yellow. Heavy on the yolk and the honey.
So wait. So what kind of bread is that again?
Challah bread. It's a egg and honey bread.
Oh, okay. I probably wouldn't eat it then.
And it's usually cooked. Yeah. I made rolls out of it in this case. It's usually you put poppy seeds on top.
Those look like they could come out pretty good. So
eat it with cream cheese.
Snortopupus is eating already. He's enjoying it. So, and yes, we got the beaver attack. It's a beaver raid. It's my Oregon State Beavers. Max is having fun with us. So, all right. Now, what we got? Are these preserves or honey or not honey?
Honey. Yep, that's honey.
They are honey. Okay. Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
That's me straining it.
Man.
All right, I think we must be getting close to the. Oh shoot, we were too close. My next question was going to be, what color are steaks supposed to be?
Well, the ones in the store are usually very reddish, Oh,
but they're like neon red. They're like the red of your background.
Yeah.
That is all artificially produced.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and it it looks normal to you for a long time until you realize what color they're actually supposed to be, and then you realize that you have no idea what you're ingesting, and they kind of start to look disgusting.
Well, because the last time we had steaks around here, I waited 2 days even though they were still in the sell-by date, I waited 2 days before I cooked them, and I noticed they went from that pretty neon red to almost purplish. They were starting to turn color, even though they had not been opened. So
if you vacuum seal stuff, the air is part of what makes it red. They use dyes and special lights and air to get that really vivid red color, but that is not the color that a fresh steak should look. Red meat is not really red. That's why they do it, because we call it red meat, and so they make it red. It's kind of like salmon. Like they'll dye salmon orange because we think it should be orange, but when they feed it on a corn diet, salmon isn't actually orange.
Really? I mean,
yeah. So they just dye it.
Well, okay. I mean, I always picked it as pink, orange, whatever color you want to call it. It's like that was the normal color.
Nope. If it's farm raised salmon, they color them that way artificially.
Sashi said over in Malaysia, the steak is dark as that. Always wondered why ours was red. Well, we're America,
Yeah, they fake it.
Most of our stuff's banned overseas anyway, so.
So yeah, if it's vacuum sealed, and it doesn't have stuff added to it, it should be purple. Especially if it's grass fed, um, that makes it very purple. Some of the stuff that's like grass fed, like corn finished, will be redder, but it's still a really deep red. It's not that really
Hmm.
bright, vivid red. Um, this, by the way, is the size of the small steaks that they give us.
Oh my God, that's a small steak.
Yeah, when you order a half a cow, that's that's what they give you for these single serving steaks.
Wow. Snortopoopas will be eating very, very well. I know. That's
The
a
chuck
nice
the
steak.
chuck steaks are half again that big.
Wow.
I have to every time I open one, I have to carve it up and whatever meal we have gets about a third of it, and then a third goes in the crock pot for a meal the next day, and
Oh
then a
man.
third of it goes. You can't put it back in the freezer.
That's
So
the thing though, at least it goes a long way and stretches out the food budget. Yeah, Dave, 30,000 toxins on our food, and Max said challah is actually not referring to the name of the bread. It's a small amount of dough taken, burned as sacrifice. So almighty blessed be he. Oh, that's interesting, Max.
interesting fact.
And
Um,
Daddy Sniper, hey, good to see you tonight. We're not doing Fortnite, but hey, you came in for steak, and he says he's over from over in Europe. We like steak. Well, we definitely like our steak too in America.
so
So good to
you
see
can
you.
see even the burgers, which have been handled and seen a lot of
They're
air, are
dark.
still really purple. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
See,
that
normally I would think, what's wrong with that meat? Is
nope.
it bad or something else?
That's what it's supposed to be. I don't know
Yeah.
why I was weird with that angle on that picture, but um, I always go on these baking crazes after we get beef because we eat a lot of beef and homemade bread. And
Oh yeah. Oh, by the way, while I got you, did you ever make that crisp? Was it a rhubarb crisp?
yeah, I
Crisp.
sent you pictures.
Okay, I do remember it, but I tell people what you do, how you make that though, because I thought that was pretty interesting. Because I don't know how many people in the chat like rhubarb. I think my brother-in-law, the Mrs. brother, likes rhubarb. But I mean, how do you what's so good with your rhubarb crisp?
It's a rhubarb and apple crisp. You use maple syrup instead of sugar as the sweetener. I don't like too much sweet, so you literally chop it all up. If the rhubarb is older, you peel the outside of it off,
Mm.
because otherwise it's kind of chewy and stringy.
Now is
Um,
rhubarb a plant
yep,
or like okay, all right.
yep. Um, so you chop them up, you throw them in, cook them until they're just this side of soft, and then you put them in a pan, cover them with whatever your crisp recipe of choice is. Mine is mostly
Mm-hmm.
um, oats, and a lot of people will put a lot of brown sugar on them. Uh,
Right.
I'm not wild about that either. I mostly use like oats and maple syrup and spices.
Mm, that's interesting, especially maple syrup. It sounds like it's a little more natural sweetener. Just sweeten it to your taste. Now, what we have here, is this a like a pot pie, like a chicken, or
Yeah, that was the last time I made a chicken pot pie. Unfortunately, I really like these pie crusts, and I'm too lazy to make pie crust.
uh huh?
And these have soy in them. So I haven't made a chicken pot pie in quite a while.
I'm so hungry now. Damn it! I love chicken pot pies. I could eat that all by myself. And hey, Connie, good to see you. How are you doing? Glad you're here. Glad you are here. Rhubarb says, rhubarb.
Yeah,
Jess,
that's
Jess,
actually a great way to. That's
it's
actually a great way to.
sorry, I called her rhubarb. Sorry, we play Fortnite next time. I might call you rhubarb. But actually, that looks like Fallout Dave's damn red pickle character in Fortnite. But I won't get any go on that any further. Doing pretty good. I'm hungry now. After we come out, we kind of were winging it with a force, and we ended up on food. What else? So now, what is that?
That is homemade cottage cheese.
It's not liquidy.
Nope. They,
Because the store
if you,
bought is bright white, looks like curdled. I mean, like stuff, and it's very wet.
and
That looks like.
if you read the ingredients, what they do is they take cream and they pour it back in.
Oh, okay.
They take all the cream out and then they make the cottage cheese and then they pour the cream back in the top. I don't, because in this particular case, I was going to use it in a recipe, so I didn't want the moisture.
Okay. It almost looks like Parmesan cheese. I'm sorry. With that,
No,
with it.
it's very, very mild. It's far too mild for that.
Mm.
This was after butcher season, I think.
Yeah. Oh, I know. We have hunter our family out in Panhandle. They're hunters and stuff. So they've got at least like 2 or 3 big freezers and multiple refrigerators and stuff. So how many refrigerators and freezers do you have?
We have the upstairs regular refrigerator. We have a standing freezer, a small chest freezer, and a large chest freezer downstairs. And then we have a second fridge, which is the one that came with this house, that we just kind of stuck downstairs and haven't done anything with. But we occasionally, the game room is down there, so occasionally we will plug it in and pop drinks in there when we're having game days.
Right. And when you say game, you're referring mostly to what the tabletop games, like your
Tabletop
right?
games or board games or whatever.
Oh, cool.
Some of our board games take quite a long time to run too. So,
I know.
this
I
is
played X's and Allies, so I know how that is. So,
this is stew meat, so also very purple.
wow, that has really floored me tonight. The dark color of the meat. It's really really interesting.
There you go. You want to
Egg,
if you want to be hungry.
man. I tell you. So what was? Oh gosh, wow. Mashed potatoes and what are those collard greens or?
I think it's either spinach or Swiss chard, probably.
Okay.
Collard greens are not really a thing up here, so.
Oh, okay. Well, I love my collards, but I gotta have a cornbread. Something good like that, or ham steak. I'll take it with ham steak. Ham steak. So, ooh, what is that? The bread?
Nope. That is a piece of roast rolled in spices and slow cooked over potatoes. Except this is before the actual slow cooking. And then there's a meadery. Actually, I don't know if they're still open, but there was at least a meadery in Vermont. And I did an interview with them once, and they gave me a whole bunch of like seconds that they couldn't sell, and so I got a whole bunch of free meat out of it. So it was great.
Now, do you prefer doing the slow cooking like with the crock pot for certain types of meats and
Oh yeah,
vegetables?
yeah, definitely.
What are your better meats for slow cooking?
Certain roasts are better. Ones that have a lot of like connective tissue that needs to be broken down.
Mm-hmm.
Certain, I mean, brisket normally. So our brisket we normally have sliced up and turned into bacon, but if you're doing brisket, slow cookers are fine for that. And it depends on our scheduling too. Sometimes we're just so busy that the slow cooker is what's going to happen because I can throw it in the morning and not worry about it again until it's dinner time.
Right, you don't burn the house down, so yeah. Well, real quick, in here, Snorter Poopa said he visited dairy on a school trip. All you remember was the vat where they made the cottage cheese had a unique color.
Unique odor, I think it says.
Odor. Sorry, I can't read. Thank you for helping me read tonight.
Smells like cheese. So this is our secondary meat source. You notice it's quite a lot brighter red. So first of all, they don't vacuum seal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They do grass feed, but I think they grain finish, which is why it's got quite a lot higher fat content. And I don't know how they cool the meat. So when you butcher an animal, you hang it. And you get things like chickens, especially. We're like the last country that still allows cold water bath cooling for birds. So what you get is
what does that mean?
So you get a giant vat, you fill it with ice water,
Uh,
and as you're butchering your chickens, you like throw them all in the ice water, and that does several things. It cools them very, very rapidly. It also causes them to absorb a lot of water. So now a 4 pound chicken is 4.5 pounds.
okay.
That's why when you cook chicken, a lot of the time, like all this liquid will come out of it.
Okay.
Um, some people like that because depending on how you cook it, you end up with a moister meat.
Hmm.
Uh, but realistically, you could accomplish the same thing in many other ways. And it also prevents you from getting like a nice crispy skin a lot of times. Uh,
Hmm.
but the major reason it is outlawed almost everywhere is that if you get one chicken that happens to have like some fecal matter on it or the gallbladder breaks and you throw it in that tank with 900 other chickens,
Hmm.
that's how you end up with these massive chicken recalls
Oh,
because
okay.
now every single one of those chickens is tainted.
Okay. And
Um,
there's no amount of cooking temperature or anything that could kill the virus
uh,
or the.
I mean, it depends. It depends on what the issue is. Um,
Hmm.
you get
Yeah.
things like salmonella, I think is the really common one, but there are
Right.
several like subcategories of salmonella that have become extremely resistant to a lot of things. Um, like if it's pork, like trichinosis is always a concern, especially the way the pigs are kept these days. Um, beef is less of a concern on some fronts, but you know, most 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 countries don't want to risk it.
No.
And because it's generally considered like not, why are you paying for 4.5 pounds of meat when you're only getting 4 pounds of meat? Um, so most places do um, hang cooling. So you basically have a giant refrigerator, like in the movies, like the Rocky movie. There, when you
Hmm.
walk in and you see all those
Hmm.
like slabs of meat hanging off
Right.
the that's that's hang cooling.
Right. Okay.
Um,
Well, you had mentioned earlier about when you prep the animals that they hang, because I know hunters that I know they always stand the deer up on a hanging hook, and that's when they skin them and clean them, for processing. So
they
I
do, but
think.
in this is a case where like as they're being butchered when
Hmm.
when it's really hot, you can't pack a warm animal. So you have to wait until they're like really cold
Okay,
before
and
you can before you
is
can
the
pack them.
hanging also to get the blood to flow downwards so that the blood can drain too?
It's helpful, but in most cases it's so like some of the sheep I get when they're older, hanging will help with the gaminess. It makes it easier as far as bleeding them out. But a lot of it is that you can't pack it. Um,
Okay.
but it takes significantly longer than it does if you just throw it in a bucket of cold water. But health wise, it's a lot safer, and you don't end up with this kind of water retention thing. The other thing that's interesting, kind of on a similar thing, is that if you buy store bought cheese, uh, if you take it out of the packaging and re wax it so that it's sealed in and then just
Mhm.
wait, you will see how much, because what they do is they also leave a tremendous amount of water in store bought cheese. That's how they can sell it so cheap.
How do you see the water in cheese? I mean, it's because
Because
I
if
think
you
it's all
because if you
solid.
because if you wax it, it's going to continue to age, and part of the aging process is that water leaves the milk
Are you
and then
talking
gives
about
it.
like the cheese with the red wax thing around it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it gets a lot more intense flavor. There's actually a joke that the only constant investment that you could currently make, like if you had $10,000 and you wanted to invest it for your future, the
Hmm.
only guaranteed investment would be to invest it in cheese, because in 20 years that cheese will have accumulated more value than any other thing that you could invest in.
Wow, that is
Because
something else.
a 20-year-old, 10-year-old cheese is extremely rare and extremely hard to find and extremely valuable.
Well, that's nice. But hey, speaking of valuable, it's the great anti-derivative Jill coming in. Hello, Jill. How are you tonight? Great to see you with us too. Sit back, relax. We still haven't even hit the main topic we're going to talk about tonight. We've been an hour 15 on food tonight. So, Dave is reminding us about the government cheese caves too. Also, so are you ready for me to show this, Neil?
Yeah.
All right, here
Yeah,
we
I'm
go.
just flipping through at this point. For anyone who
And,
bakes
by the
bread,
way, hey to B from O. Oh, so B from O. Hey, lurking in. Good to see you, B from
hello,
O.
hello.
All right, so back to
If you
you.
bake your own bread, bake it in cast iron. It will always come out better.
Oh, my wife loves cast iron. It's like she insists on it, and if she can take it, she will. So because it does make a difference. I mean, I love cornbread in a cast iron skillet too.
What was this? This was a steak cooked with, I think, cranberry and applesauce.
Mm. And sweet potatoes or
Yeah,
those yams.
it's either squash or sweet potatoes. I don't remember which.
Squash is orange. Okay. Well,
You don't have oh, right, because you're in warm climate. Winter squash. Winter squash is always orange,
okay. All right.
or almost always orange.
Okay. And
Um,
what were the meatballs? Were they supposed to be meatballs or were they
yep, they're
hamburgers?
meatballs.
Meatballs.
So I have what I refer to as my 3-day spaghetti sauce. It literally takes 3 days to cook, and day 2 is when I make the meatballs. So
Yeah, and yes, we know that cast iron skillets are even better than rolling pins for whacking people.
so Snorta, I have a marble a marble rolling pin. So I might contradict you on that one.
Oh yeah, my wife has one. She had like a marble holder and also a marble rolling pin. Yeah, those things can hurt. Now, is that an onion or is that a big wonton or bun, sticky bun?
It is neither. Anyone else want to take a guess?
Yeah, folks, if you have questions, please put your questions in the chat. We'd like to take your questions and yeah, what is this? What do you think that this is in the picture? Feel free. Guessing is free. Yes. Snort snuffling. So, but yeah, feel free, folks. Uh, Dave says cheese curds.
You're very
Uh,
close.
Snort said cheese a dead rat.
This is labanya. Labanya is when you make yogurt and then you hang it for several days until it turns into cheese.
Oh, okay.
It is a very tangy Middle Eastern cheese. And you basically use it like cream cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Spread it on thick breads, and for storage, you pack it in olive oil with spices,
Uh-huh.
like rosemary or something like that. So
That's yeah.
I made a whole bunch of it once for Christmas presents, and
Now,
makes for great.
is it a sharp cheese or is it like a feta cheese? I mean, how would you describe it comparable to one of your more mainline cheeses?
Um, it has the texture of cream cheese, but um, it's got a little bit of like the tanginess of like Greek yogurt, maybe.
Okay.
But it's very smooth.
Okay.
Um,
Very interesting. Yeah.
I'm trying to think what I would. I mean, it's fairly close to goat cheese, I guess.
Okay.
Like a soft goat cheese.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
And
Which
this is a hard cheese that has not been waxed yet.
interesting. Now, what is involved specifically? So you wax your own cheese. What do you do? How do you do it? Is it always red, or is it just okay? Is that a wax cheese there?
That is wax cheese. Well, that's the first coat. I needed to put another coat on, but
Okay, so
um,
what? How do you coat it? I guess that's what I'm trying to ask. Is what? How do you wax it? What ingredients are involved to get that waxy that helps age it?
you can literally just buy cheese wax. You literally just melt it down, dip the cheese in it. Um, the other thing is when I happen to have any free actual like beeswax wax works really well, and it gives the cheese a really interesting flavor.
Mm-hmm.
You have to strain it really well because if there's stuff in it, it can make the cheese go bad. But
Hmm.
um, this was the first one I had waxed in several years, and so I did not do a great job. That's why it cracked over here.
Well, sometimes some of the best food is ugly. It doesn't matter. It's all going to the
Uh,
same place anyway.
well, the problem is that it does make a difference with cheese because
Oh,
if it's not sealed
okay.
perfectly,
Yeah.
you can get mold in there. There we
Oh,
go. That was when I finally got
well,
it
then
right.
you can make it blue cheese, couldn't you?
No, wrong bacteria. So you have to have exactly the
Oh,
right.
okay. I do know some people that are deathly allergic to blue cheese.
Interesting.
So
I don't think I've ever heard that one.
yeah. Snort likes the Greek yogurt and feta. Feta reminds Captain Finity of Crete, and then Snortopoopas also says Gouda and Edam.
Hmm.
Now, what is okay? This almost looks like a fat, like some
This is
leftover
this is
or
whey.
broth
So
way.
when you make cheese, you basically are gathering all of the cream up and turning into curd.
Is this
And
kind of like where Little Miss Muffet eating her curds and whey?
yes, curds and whey is cottage cheese. So the liquidy
Okay.
part of cottage cheese is the whey. The curds is the thick part.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so when you make a hard cheese, when you press it, you get as much of the whey out of it as possible. Um, but it's
Hmm.
extremely high in protein. It's really good for a whole bunch of things. People will put it in smoothies. I bake bread with it. You get a really interesting texture on your bread. It gets very fluffy. Though you have to not use too much of it, or the bread can actually come out kind of sticky.
Right.
Um, and if all else fails, people that raise chickens and pigs will feed it to them because it's extremely good for them, especially when they're young.
Hmm. Interesting.
That was
So,
milk.
oh, you had said something about raw milk, and I think we might have jumped. I have
Yeah,
never
we
had
did.
raw milk. What is raw milk? Is it from goat or does it from any animal or
Yeah, it's from any animal.
okay? But raw. Why is it called raw milk? I guess is it that it's not been pasteurized into all the
Yeah,
processes that we use?
most milk is. So it used to be milk was pasteurized, which it was heated to a certain degree. I don't remember what the numbers were, but it was heated up for a certain amount um,
Hmm.
for a long-ish period of time, not a lot, but enough to kill off any bacteria or whatever.
Mm.
Um,
Okay.
and it was because it used to be that people drank raw milk because you were either milking your own cows or your own goats, or the local guy was coming around with bottles and leaving them on your doorstep every morning. So it was literally like a day old. When
Ah,
it got
okay.
to the point where um, large companies were producing milk, and you have thousands of gallons going in, pasteurization became required because you just can't have that much product being handled by that many people over that kind of distance without something going, kind of funky. Um, and so pasteurization became the norm. Well, recently they have gone to something called ultra pasteurization, which
Right.
is heating it to a very high degree. Um, and so I thought for a while I was lactose intolerant because I very abruptly started having issues with milk.
Right.
And then it turned out that the ultra pasteurization heats it so high it changes the formation of some of the chemicals, and so I just can't process them anymore. But I can drink raw milk all day. I'm fine.
Oh, okay.
Um, and
Well, because
I could probably drink pasteurized milk too, except you can't find it anymore.
so what we have in the stores is not pasteurized milk. Well, boy, that they slid that past me. I thought it was still doing it, but Captain
Now, if
Finity
you
says blue cheese is his absolute favorite, and I'm like Snortopoopas with Thousand Island. Any healthy benefit I might get from eating salad is negated by drowning it in blue cheese dressing. But I go Thousand Island.
um,
And Fallout David said, I wonder if that's why that he has issues with milk, but not things like cheese or yogurt.
well, there are a couple of possibilities. Ultra pasteurization is an issue for some people. The other thing is that cow milk is actually not very good for humans. The size of the fat chemicals are bigger than people are really designed to ingest. That's why a large chunks of the world are lactose intolerant. They just can't. They okay. Lactose is a sugar. The proteins are the fats are a protein. But a lot of people who are diagnosed as lactose intolerant actually have an issue with the size of the fat protein. So they
Hmm.
can drink goat's milk because goat has a much smaller fat chemical, or sheep's milk, which has an even smaller fat chemical. But they can't drink cow's milk. If that's the case, they are not lactose intolerant. They have an issue with the size of the fat chemicals. And that is true for a lot of people. But when you go to your doctor's office and you say, hey, I feel terrible every time I drink milk, they're just going to say you're lactose intolerant. Stop drinking milk. Um,
Yeah, very canned responses. Yeah.
well, I mean, the thing is that the result is usually the same. I mean, most people aren't going to go out and buy a goat. And goat milk is something that is not available in a lot of stores. So for most people, the result is going to be the same, and it saves them a whole bunch of expensive testing.
Well, I will say though, Mrs. has talked about getting chickens and stuff before, but I would invest in a goat because I wouldn't have to mow the yard as much. But
Yes, you would.
really, they don't eat
If you don't want to mow the yard, get sheep.
sheep. Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
If you have a bunch of shrubs you want to get rid of, get goats. If you want to mow
Okay.
your lawn, get sheep.
Well, we can get the sheep, then she can make sweaters and stuff. Okay,
If you
got it.
want if you want both, get soy.
So, okay, yep, I remember them.
Soy. Yep, soy are
Yep,
very tiny sheep. They are the best of both worlds.
there you go. That's cool. Now, which pie did we just see a second ago?
I have absolutely no idea.
Okay, well, the crust looks good
Uh,
though.
my guess is that it's probably apple.
Hmm.
Right before Christmas, I will usually make a whole bunch of apple pies and put them in the freezer so that when someone says, "Hey, I need you to bring a pie to such and such an event," it's just already made.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you can make 6 apple pies in almost the same amount of time you can make one.
No. Yeah. It's multitasking. It's being efficient. Yeah. I understand that.
Oh, so back to Dave's thing.
Yeah.
Hard cheese has very little lactose in it. Part of the process of making hard cheese, like, gets rid of the lactose. Yogurt, however, would be kind of unusual. Um, so it may be a protein thing. It may be an ultra pasteurization thing. Um, and it may depend a little bit on the yogurt. I would be interested to know what kind of cheese, and is the yogurt like live cultured, or is it that stuff that they, beat to death that isn't really yogurt anymore because they put too much sugar in it?
Right. It's amazing the changes in the products. Oh wow.
Okay,
Okay.
so this is entertaining. So I told you that I use whey in making bread every so often.
Wow.
This
Yeah.
this was my first experiment. In in half the time that it would normally take me to rise bread over the wood stove,
Mm.
this thing had exploded and was in the process of trying to eat my soup pot.
Oh,
Um,
I could
whey
tell.
activates the yeast so much faster.
Hmm.
If you don't have any trouble with any kinds of cheese, including soft cheese, you do not have a lactose issue.
Hmm. Interesting.
Sorry, I was busy answering Dave's follow up.
No, no, no. That's cool. That's cool. No, that turkey looks awesome.
I think that's a chicken, actually.
Think it's a chicken? Okay, all right. It
Yeah,
just, I guess the wing looks so big to me, at least from the picture. I presume it
yeah.
was
Well,
turkey.
that was why I took a picture of both it raw and otherwise.
Right.
Um, we got a couple of really ginormous broilers one year.
Now, are you, how do y'all usually cook these? Do you use like barbecue grills, wood smokers, or broilers, or what is,
I think in the case of this one, I think I just threw it in the oven.
okay. Yeah,
Um,
I have a brother in law that made his own, years ago, made his own smokers. and it basically be a big drum, vertically, and then of course horizontally. That you down low is where you'd have the wood chips and the everything else to create the fire, the smoke, and uh, really was really inventive. But interesting how smoking. But there's taste differences between smoking, broiling, and everything else. Not everybody likes smoked meats either.
So I will take this is, my really over the top cooking. Um, I will smoke short ribs and then bone them out,
Oh,
and then make smoked short rib lasagna.
oh gosh, I'm hungry. That sounds wonderful.
So this is not going to help you with any.
No.
This is maple walnut baklava.
Oh, wow.
Instead of using honey, it's a baklava recipe, but instead of using honey, we use maple syrup.
Interesting. That'd be interesting to tell the difference. So,
Yeah.
Jill says that sounds amazing.
I
Yeah.
like it better than regular. So regular baklava, I find gets too sweet and too intense for me too quickly. Maple syrup is just enough less sweet that you could eat yourself sick on this.
I bet. I bet. Oh, by the way, can you go back to the big pot of bread? There you go. All right, because it personally snorted poopus. It had later appealed in the movie "The Bread That Conquered Earth." You
The
like
funny thing,
that? Yeah, you
the
like that? Well, wait for Fallout Dave. You need to see that movie.
the
I
funny
can't
thing
even.
about this is that this pot was already half again as big as the pot I usually raise bread in
Yeah,
because I didn't know how it was going to react. So I was like, I'll put it in a bigger pot just to be on the safe side.
good thing you
It
did that time.
it did not work. So
Uh,
yeah,
yeah,
that is you get a you do not have to wait nearly as long for your bread to rise if you make it with whey. Whoops, that was
yeah.
interesting. And I don't know why that picture is in my food. That is in the wrong. That is in the wrong category. That should be under the wool, not under the food.
Oh man, still all that and all this is farm raised on your place.
Or well, I mean, flour we don't really do here, but
Well, yeah, yeah, but I mean the animals, the vegetables, that type of stuff.
when we either raise everything ourselves or we try and get it locally.
Okay,
I try to stay as close to home as I can. If I can't do it myself, I get it from, someone within town. If I can't get it within town, I get it within the state. If I can't get it within the state, I get it within New England. Um, except cherries. I have a great weakness for cherries, so when they go on sale, it
oh,
doesn't matter
cherries.
whether
By the way, snorted poop is like cherry pie better than apple. I'm like that too. I prefer cherry.
I
Actually,
like fresh cherries. I mean they're okay cooked, but I would they would never
now
last long. They would
are
never
they as
last long enough to get cooked here.
are they as red as we think they are, or are they a different color too? I mean, that's
I
like
mean, it depends on the type of cherry.
okay.
We say cherries as if they're one thing, but there are a lot of different types of cherries. So
Ooh, Simply Steve's here, and he's bringing in the peach pie.
yeah, peach pie is good, and my grandmother used to make a fresh strawberry pie with like real whipped cream
Mm-hmm.
once or twice a year when strawberries were in season. Because you
Yeah.
literally cannot make it with frozen strawberries. You have to literally pick the strawberries and then cut them up, and put them in the pie in order for it to work.
See, I'm not a fan of strawberries. Maybe I just haven't got the right ones because none of them taste sweet
You
enough
don't
to me, and I don't know
you don't like
whether they're just.
strawberries. You don't like eggs.
Well, I do. I will eat the strawberries, but most of the ones at least that I've had, really they don't have. They're not sweet. They don't really have a good taste. Maybe they're just out of season.
Are
By the
you
way, hello citrus. It's lemon pie calling us fruitcakes again. Hey, lemon pie, love it.
so
Okay,
lemon pie
what's
is
your
also
question?
just here in time for the food discussion. Um,
Yeah.
are they store bought? Your strawberries are they store bought?
I don't. Yes, they're usually strawberry. They're usually store bought strawberries. If
Well, there's
every
your
once in a while, if you're down in
there's your
Plant
problem.
City, you might get some. Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah, there's your problem.
Okay. I got you. I understand. So
So these were spice muffins that I made for breakfast one day. Maple syrup, cinnamon, nutmeg, vanilla, and clove, I think.
Hmm.
Um, this was a bunch of fruit sauces I made up. Some are rhubarb, some are apple. This is a Muscovy. So most people think that Muscovy are ducks. They are not ducks. They are much, much leaner. They are nutritionally different. They taste more like roast beef than duck.
Oh yeah.
And their eggs are nutritionally different.
Hmm.
But they are delicious.
Well, we got a comment back to the cherries. Jess, works in a deli, and looking at store, see mainly yellow cherries from the deli counter. Interesting. So, oh, Snorter Poopin said he's going to have to take a road trip to your place. uh, he sees lots of potential food.
Well, there's generally lots of potential food here. So
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh! See, I know
I
my wife would love that stuff. Do you actually do canning also?
I don't with my current stove. Our stove broke and I had to get one quickly, so a friend gave us a flat top electric stove,
Hmm.
and you can't properly can on a flat
Right.
top stove.
Right. The
So
missus
I
had done that with her family a lot while back, and it was you have to, and you got to be careful too, because she used like the pressure cooker type things, which
Yep.
you've got their safety issues and all that stuff, and you have to do it just right, cool them off, and seal them right. I just was wondering because I noticed you have so many of those mason jars there. I was wondering if you did do
Yeah,
some of
I
that.
recently I've been just using them for other things because we just like I said
Hmm.
with the flat top stove it just doesn't work very well.
Yep. No, I
I'm
agree.
trying to find I have a wonderful egg picture I wanted to show you.
Yeah, that's cool. While
Um
you're looking for that, let me talk about Cap Infinity, and we will get to that battle royale before we're done. We're at an hour and 37 minutes, and we thought maybe 90 minutes, but once again, we get together and we keep going. Infinity says, "I really miss Polish home cooking, potato pancakes, pierogi." Snore Poopas is still eating up everything that comes out in the chat, but yeah, no, we really, really enjoy this. Thank you, Goat, for your time tonight. This is really, really neat. And we just naturally merged into a cool topic. We got a lot of people that love their food out there too, so it's very, very neat. So, and as we're waiting, you're pulling up another picture, right?
well, I was trying. I
Trying.
had okay, this isn't the one I was looking for, but it's fairly close.
Okay. All right. We'll look for it.
Hang on a second. Is this the right one? I hope this is the right one. That is the right one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the egg picture. Okay.
Yeah. So that is a chicken egg versus a goose egg.
Okay.
And I had one somewhere that was a guinea egg, a chicken egg, a turkey egg, a duck egg, and a goose egg.
Right. I see
Um,
it. Yeah, I can definitely tell because I've seen plenty of those goose eggs out where I've worked when they've had nests with the Canada geese. Yeah, so they're cute little babies, but man, those suckers are mean. They are
what's mean?
so mean, huh?
What's
The
what's
Canada,
mean?
the Canada geese, those things, they'll chase you down, especially if you're anywhere near their nest.
I
Even
was
if you
gonna
do it
say
like,
you should leave their nests alone.
well, sometimes they camouflage so easily, and you don't even know where they are.
They don't know that.
I don't know. All right, we got turkeys here.
So this is my future Thanksgiving dinner at 4 weeks.
Oh man, all right. Already planning Thanksgiving, so oh cassowary eggs, those things are nasty. Emus, yes. But
We
oh,
only
so,
wanted we only
yeah.
wanted 3, but we had to order a minimum of 5. So if we get one female, we'll keep one male and one female, and the other 3 will go in the freezer.
Oh, okay. So they'll all be slaughtered for future use. Yeah. Okay, but you had a
Well,
minimum purchase.
if I have a female, then I'll keep a male and a female, and just have them hatch out next year's batch. But
Well, that's cool. That's a good way to save some money. But
But
he
this
looks
guy,
so thin and skinny right now.
well, what's really funny is that he was only 4 weeks old in this. He just gone through a growth spurt. He just like got his feathers in. He literally went from covered in down to like feathery in, I don't know, 36 hours or something ridiculous like that. I've never seen it so quick.
Hmm.
Um, and as soon as his feathers came in, he immediately was like, I am the big bad. And now he just walks around like poofed up like he was a full grown turkey, like all the time. It's hysterical.
Yep,
He's
and a
like,
button. Hmm.
he's like maybe a foot tall at the most, even now. And so he's walking around all puffed up, like trying really hard to like do the turkey thump, and he just can't.
And well, in 4
He's
months, it's all
adorable.
going to be moot. Yes, don't get attached to them. Don't name them. I know,
Oh,
so
I
adorable.
don't. I don't.
Yeah,
We only name breeders or
yeah,
pets. So,
exactly. Nice lemon pie. Good to
um,
see.
but he's
Yeah,
he's still he's still really funny.
that's
No, what
cool.
we'll do is if there's I think we have four males and a female. And if I'm right, we'll keep the female and we'll keep whoever the best tempered male is.
Right, very
Um,
important. Don't get a cranky male. So
well, there's a difference between cranky and protective. I mean, we want them to be assertive enough. We don't want them to run away from the predators if something shows up. So,
oh my God. Follow Dave said, I shall name him Sandwich. Oh my gosh. Folks, we've had a lot of food talk. So if y'all have questions still on the food, go ahead, put your questions for the Eclectic Goat out there about the food, animals, or anything like that. If you got questions, feel free to put them there and I'll be tracking them. Let's go ahead and transition for a couple minutes because we're at an hour, 40 minutes. Because let's go back to what you wanted to talk to me about, which is one of the things that kind of came up the other day about the battle royale, not Fortnite, but in terms of
can't
movies.
I can't
Huh?
believe you've never seen Battle. Has anyone else in the audience not seen Battle Royale?
I have not seen the movie specifically, but at least the article I read referred to it as like a genre and gave examples of some of the movies. Like they even
Well,
considered. Go
that's one
ahead.
of the reasons I was so startled is that it made such a huge impact on the movie industry that it became a genre like 25 years ago. Like it
Mhm.
developed its own genre because it was such a big hit.
Okay, Fluff Chick Productions. Connie did, and has done it. So you saw Casino Royale. Come on, Dave. Oh, sort of poops had a demand feed me. So, but see, the article that I read even put some of the movies like the Running Man with the Schwarzenegger in as one of those type of movies. I'm not sure if
Well,
we would consider it in the truest sense, or you're talking about something that because why they were including like Death Race 2000 and the older movies like Death Race 2000 where you have a competition and they're not necessarily fighting each other directly, but they're
I think
looking to survive.
I think I know the article that you're talking about, and they were talking about movies that are like if you like battle royale, you might like these kinds of movies type thing.
Hmm.
Battle royale. So a battle royale. There's a difference. A battle royale is a bunch of people who all go head to head until there's only one left standing.
Right. Is that
Battle
what
royale.
like Squid Games is considered?
Um, except nobody's really fighting; they're just competing in games.
Okay. Okay.
Um, but it was originally, I think, a boxing term where you basically took a whole bunch of boxers and threw them in the ring and just saw who was left after they'd knocked each other out.
Okay.
Um, but the battle royale movie is about a bunch of people who are forced to fight each other to the death. So the original battle royale was, people who were voluntarily doing this. Running Man, I don't think counts as a battle royale type movie because he voluntarily goes into that. And it's not him having to kill other people, it's him having to stay alive.
Oh,
Whereas
okay.
the battle royale movie is specifically about you must kill other people, whether you want to or not. Um,
Yeah, it would be like the Hunger Games. Would that be more like the Battle
yep,
Royale?
Hunger
Okay.
Games, Hunger Games, especially the book, not the movie. Um,
Right. Not the New
is a battle
York
royale style.
subway. Not the New
Uh,
York subway, but
the Belko experiment, if anybody's seen that, is a very good example. There was an old Steve Austin movie called The Condemned that is a battle royale style movie. Um, there's quite a few of them out there. They usually all involve people that are brought together against their will. They usually involve people having to fight to the death until one is only one standing. Though there was one called Mean Guns, where it was like the last three
hmm
were supposed to get to live. Um, and Hunger Games, it was the last two.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
usually you have one person that turns out to have like sociopathic tendencies and really enjoy murdering people. Most of the
yeah.
group are initially very reluctant and kind of forced into it by circumstance. Um, it's rare that
It is.
like there are guns or anything quick involved. It's usually, lots of hand to hand, you know, graphic
Mhm.
graphic death scenes.
Now this is a Korean movie, I believe, right? Or is it Japanese?
I believe it was Japanese because
Okay,
it was a big deal when it first came out because it was categorized as their category kind of ends at like parental, like you're not allowed in if you're over 15.
right.
Um, and it was quite a controversy because they thought it was harming to children. The government didn't want it shown to anyone over the age of 15. And the director said, I got 14-year-olds in the cast. Just go ahead and sneak into the movie. Like openly said it during interviews.
Hey,
It's like,
no,
this should never have gotten this rating. There are 14-year-olds in the movie. Like,
yeah, because
just sneak in.
I'm looking at the summary of the plot. Basically, like in Battle Royale, they're like middle schoolers, and they're all captured, put out on the island, and then they have explosive collars, almost like the Running Man, like that, and they have to fight 3 days to fight to the death until a victor emerges, and
Yeah,
it,
there's
it
there's very frequently a time limit. There's very frequently some method of controlling them, Suicide Squad esque style.
hmm
Either they have a collar on, or they have something implanted, or there are just a lot of snipers, and if you try and leave, they'll shoot you.
yeah,
There's usually a confined space.
hmm
Um, there's usually something that will encourage tempers to start fraying short.
hmm
Sometimes there's some sort of prize at the end, but not always. Like Battle Royale itself didn't really have anything other than you get to live.
oh yeah, it's like your prizes that you win. I like we saw with Hunger Games, they were kind of held out on a pedestal, and then it came back for other appearances as the government needed them to. There's another movie that's coming out in 2025. I don't think it's out yet, but it's called The Long Walk. It's not really head to head type of. Uh,
There is absolutely no way that they're going to be able to do that story justice.
yeah, it's
It,
a Stephen King novel, and
yeah, and it's far too gruesome. I have no idea how they're going to make it into a movie.
I watched a trailer in one of the movie theaters, and because I think it's basically you got to keep up a certain pace, and then they have everybody walking with them, and if you don't, you're put down and stuff like that. I just it's really I mean, it looked like it could be interesting, but I don't
The
know.
book
Yeah, go
the
ahead.
the book is one of the ones that I think out of all of his stories, I think is probably in the top 5 that stuck with me when I first read them.
hmm
Um but it's like the Hunger Games. It is so introspective that I don't know how they're going to make a good movie out of it. And
hmm
it's yeah, there are parts in the book that are
See
quite
this. I'm
quite
sorry.
quite unfilmable.
See, here's the thing. Like this, we folks, we kicked down around like 100 topics about what we're going to do to this with this stream tonight over the last month or so, and then tonight we just kind of using the force with it. But this kind of leads into what, one of the topics that we hope to hit at some point is, when does the book do it? The movie, when does the book better than the movie, or when does the movie fail to capture what the book is? I mean, because
Almost
it's
always.
a huge
Almost
topic.
always.
Hey, Outlaw Bill, good to see you. Good to see you tonight. Are you saying that rarely the movie does the book justice?
Well, I'm not saying that the movie can't be good, but good adaptations are incredibly rare. And part of it is simply that books tend to be more introspective,
Mm-hmm.
and you lose something as soon as you have to make that introspection into a visual medium.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the fact that, books tend to be long. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Shawshank Redemption is a short story. It's not very long at all. And yet it made a full length movie. And it's probably the only accurate Stephen King movie really ever made.
Mm-hmm. Right.
In order to do The Shining properly, he had to make it into a miniseries.
Okay.
The Shining movie is a fun movie. It's a terrible adaptation. Um,
Okay.
so, and that brings you to the final one, which is, it's rare that the writer of the book is writing the script, and therefore you're going to end up with, well, I have to make my own changes. I want my voice to be put on this.
Right.
And then the director wants their voice put on it, and
Yeah.
so you end up.
I've seen that with some of the World War II movies that they made, even like Midway. They kind of took a lot of liberties in some of the characters in the movie, which were not the historians I've seen. Like that's not how the person was in real life, and because they dress it up, they do certain things. And Captain Finney says it's a pet topic for him. You never compare the movie to the book. A faithful adaptation makes for a bad movie. See, that's what I thought with Star Wars, because I read a lot of the expanded universe books, and people like do it like that. But I've always said you could not take the expanded universe and make it into a movie now, because it's so predictable. Everybody would know what's coming. It just, I don't think it do. And hey, Captain Finney agrees exactly. The Shining is an unfaithful adaptation, thus an awesome movie. Yeah,
See,
but
I disagree. I think The Shining is one that could have been a very good adaptation and a very good movie.
could
But
have.
the director did not want that. He wanted a
Right,
standard horror movie that was like his thing.
right.
He didn't really want to make the Stephen King book.
Well,
He
one
was
of
just that was just what they paid him for. So,
yeah. Well, see, my thing is some of these things. I've actually seen the worst possible one that I've ever seen was Jurassic Park 2. Because in that one, they took the book and said, threw the book out the window and didn't even say, the Jurassic Park 2 with Vince Vaughn and all them in it. And
well,
it was
they
like, it's
couldn't.
not even close to what the book was. You got a T Rex running down. That's where I started getting pissed off with the Jurassic Park series, because it was like the
I don't know
Jurassic,
what you're talking about. There's one Jurassic Park movie, and that's it.
well, the Lost World as a book was an awesome book, because you had dinosaurs that even the T-Rex was afraid of and stuff. It was a better book. But the other one, they got goofy where they hunted them on the island. They brought a T-Rex back to San Diego and running loose on the streets of San. It was just
Well,
completely
they
stupid.
they they had
But
to, because they had made so many changes with the first movie between the book and the
yes,
movie that
yes,
it was. I mean, he had to bring like Malcolm back to life in the book just so that they could put him in the movie, because people were so pissed off that he died in the book. Like nobody
yeah,
wanted to see Jeff Goldblum die.
right,
Um,
right. So, and I will tell, and the two prime examples though that I've seen, and we can talk about Jurassic Park more if you want to, as we do. One of the, I like to take two cases of John Grisham books. The Firm. I grew up in high school, all heard all about how The Firm was this great book on all this stuff. Well, I didn't. Oh, Snortopoopas is going to go take a bed. Oh, dude. All right. Well, you rest well, Bear. You really
We
rest
stopped
well.
we stopped talking about food, so now he's leaving.
I might have to get it. Well, we can talk about dinosaurs eating people. But you rest well, Snort.
Sleep
But
well.
but okay, The Firm. Tom Cruise made the movie. I look. I understand you to have license, and I understand that it's not always. But my God, you got the guy walking in there talking to the mobster, saying, "Hey, Mister Mob Guys, I'm your lawyer, but I'm going to rat out my bosses for overbilling you. But I'm not can't talk about you because of attorney-client privilege. I'm sorry, you're going to end up in the East River with concrete shoes. You ain't going to walk out of that." And you ain't gonna just walk out from the FBI guy at the end of the movie. I hated that that movie so much. It's the one movie I wanted to leave. If I had my own car, I would have left. But I was with a friend.
I didn't watch The Firm, but like Runaway Jury, the book and the movie are so different. It's insane. Like they don't even cover the same
Yeah.
topic.
Let me
One
say
is
hi real
one
quick
is
to Figgy. Hey, Figgy's here for a quick hi. Hey, good to see you, Figgy. I hope you're getting your rest back from your busy week so far. Great to see you tonight. So, all right. Sorry though,
That's all right.
Goat. But yeah.
Yeah,
So the
I mean
Runaway Jury.
they do that a lot. I mean, one is about cigarettes and one is about guns. Like they're entirely different topics.
Mm-hmm.
Um Lord of the Rings, which is generally considered to be one of the better adaptations, like Gimli is made into a joke.
Right.
Um,
Right.
there is it is not it kept the essence of the story, which I think was important, and I think sometimes that's the best you can do is to keep the essence.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but man, I still get mad about what they did with Gimli.
And
Um,
see, it's a, I never noticed that because I watched the movies before reading the book, but as I read the book, I never really realized that. That's very very interesting. My problem with what happened with the firm though was it was so unrealistic the way they did it that I just didn't buy it. You know, have you ever seen a movie where just this is stupid? This is just so unrealistic, and I did. I got mad at the movie. I got so mad I went out and bought a book. I bought the firm and read the damn book. I went to a bookstore, not even the library. I went and bought a book and read it. But in that case, it was so unlike the book. I love the book. I couldn't put the book down. Great. It was a great book. But then again, I liked it so much. I got the Pelican Brief, which was a good book. I enjoyed it, not as much as the firm. But when I started watching, when I when I was watching the movie, it was too much just like the book, and it felt like it missed something. You know,
have you
and
seen
that can
Sin
happen.
City?
Sin City. Oh, it's been a long time, but yeah. Oh my God, that was a freaky movie. A coworker took me to see that one, and it was like very eye opening to me. Normally, I wouldn't have watched something like that, but yeah, but yeah, I have seen that.
So Sin City is interesting because that is basically a perfect adaptation, and it's one of the rare cases. He
Hmm.
literally took the shots from the comic, showed them to the actors, and said, at the end of the shot, you need to be in this position.
Oh, interesting.
Like the choreography was done exactly based on the book, the
Hmm.
lines came exactly from the book.
All I know
Um,
is that Elijah Wood freaked the shit out of me because of that creepy ass character he was playing with the sunglasses. That that was that was crazy. Uh,
and that one was so close an adaptation that once you saw the movie, you almost didn't need to read the book or vice versa.
yeah.
Um, I think if you'd read the book, you probably would still enjoy the movie because the
Hmm.
story's still the same, but you get movement and you get
Um,
the actors and stuff. But if you did it the other way around,
hmm.
it took me a couple of times to get through the graphic novel because I was like, I might as well just watch the movie again. Like,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Quit
um,
reading, and thank you, Captain Finity. Thank you so much for that compliment. We appreciate it. And this is Goat's third time on, so with comments like that, we might have to come back more times because I mean, folks, we're just scratching the surface with this discussion right now, and it's
I
so
have
much
very
fun.
intense feelings about. I have an entire like section of videos on my channel called hashtag the book is better. So
I remember, and we were going to kind of talk about that a little bit, but we kind of don't have time tonight necessarily to get into it. We can hit a couple here because that's a specific uh, topic we could have one night because there's just so much to it. And but like I said, the Firm was where the book was better for me. The Lost World and Jurassic Park were both better. Books were both better. Uh,
it can be a very difficult. So if you get something like The Hunger Games, the book is
mhm,
very definitely better. It's not a good adaptation. The movie is not a good adaptation. Um, it's done far less well. It's less emotionally engaging. Um, you look at people who have both seen the book or seen the movie and read the book, and they pretty much will always all tell you that the book just had more impact.
mhm,
Um, but like I did the Green Mile, and it kind of ended up being a tie because the the movie is a good adaptation, but is different enough that you don't feel like why bother? I already read the books. It's slightly less gory. My mother couldn't get through the books, but she liked the movie. Um, the only thing is that my favorite character in the books gets really shorted in the movie because star power determines who has all the cool lines, and Tom Hanks was the lead. So he got all the cool lines,
yeah.
which left the cool character from the book basically just standing around looking like the big dumb guy.
Hmm.
Um, and there are changes like Wild Bill in the books is a teenager, and Sam Rockwell was like in his, I don't know, 30s or 40s or something. And so a lot of his actions don't really make a lot of sense.
No.
Um, but the book was written in like 6 different installments. And there is so much repetition to keep reminding you what happened that if you sit down and read them back to back, you will pull your hair out.
Really? Oh, that's
Um,
interesting.
and so the movie is so much smoother and so much more linear and so much easier to absorb. Um, and Tom Hanks is good, and the rest of the cast were really good, and Sam Rockwell was really bad in the sense that he was good at being bad.
Yes.
um, that one ended up being a tie for me. I really could not make a decision as to whether I liked the book or the movie better.
Well, that's good though. I think that's good movie making that they actually were
Yeah,
able to do it where you could, it's so difficult to make the faithful adaptation that's actually a good movie. But I
well,
just
that's
hate when they completely re-rack it. Like I said, the firm just pissed me off because it was so unrealistic, so unexpected that just it just made me mad. And then the Lost World 2 pissed me off too because it really was a damn good book with the way they did it on the island and stuff, and yet they chose this running comical thing, and that's where. If we want to hit, maybe we're going off topic in terms of that. We can branch out a little bit, but that's what really pissed me off with the Jurassic Park series because right there, like you said, there were changes in the first one, but I thought it was a good movie. You could live with what they did in the first,
well
but
the
starting with the
first
second one, they just threw it all out because we got to put the humor in with running a T Rex and the scene with the T Rex looking up in the family with the dog, the dog's house hanging. It's like what?
well because the movies are made for families and children, and the books are horror books written for adults.
Mm, yeah, yeah,
And as soon as you start making changes, even small changes, the further you go into a series, the more those changes will widen the gap between the movie and the book.
yeah.
Um, uh, The Hunger Games series was kind of like that. You know, they made changes in the first book, which then led to you have to make changes in the second book, which then led to you have to make even more changes in the third book.
Mm. Are changes in the movie or the book?
Between the two. I
Okay,
mean,
okay, right,
the books were written first.
right.
And when you start tweaking stuff, you know, well, we want to cut characters so we can save money. Well, yeah, but that character had a really important role in the second
Yeah,
film, so now somebody else has to take that role. And
and then you have to rewrite it, changes. Yeah, and I've heard about that happening a lot, where they give character another character somebody other character's line because they don't put them in and stuff like that. Hey, Balzette, welcome in tonight. Good to see you. And this is going to be a quick squirrel stream for you here with this because I'm going to throw something out that just jumped in my mind because you know you have one of the best zombie videos I've ever seen out there on your channel. I'm going to put the link there to it in just a second. But I mean, it's like what happened with The Walking Dead, the TV series. Was they got the initial cast, you're following them, then they kept adding people and adding more people, and then it spent all the times on characters you didn't even give a crap about, and the characters you like got no screen time. And I don't like it sometimes when you know that they're taking somebody else's arc and shoving it on another character and changing it completely.
yeah, that one was weird because I mean, there are things like um, the old guy that's very early on in the series.
Oh, the grandpa,
Yeah,
the farmer dad. Yeah, yeah. I
yeah,
can't remember what his name.
the one who ends up like banging the young girls.
Uh, yeah.
Um, I don't know if he does in the television show or not, but in the graphic novel, he ends up.
Oh, he did. Oh. If it's the one I'm thinking about, the old man on the farm.
Oh, no, no, no.
I don't know.
Before him even.
Oh, okay. God, it's been so long
Um,
since. Yeah.
Dale, is that his name?
Oh, Dale. Oh, yeah, Dale. The sniper guy. Yeah. Oh, Dale. Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
nope,
Yeah.
he's not a sniper guy
Well,
in
he
the
had a
comic.
gun. He okay. Well, in the TV show, he was pretty good with a gun. So in the RV. So,
Um,
but then again, they're
yep,
changing stuff. Right? Yeah.
I think that is him.
Yeah.
Um,
The Dale. I remember the character. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, he's like the older guy who ends up like sleeping with the young girls. Um, so I don't know how it goes in the television show because I realized real quick I didn't want to watch it.
Well,
But in
Balzette agreed with that. At
the
the second episode. So.
in the graphic novel, he gets bitten and he doesn't tell anyone he's been bitten. He basically just walks away into the woods.
Mm-hmm.
And he is mugged and knocked over the head and captured by another group of survivors.
Mm.
And he wakes up and discovers that the reason that they have captured him is that they're cannibals.
Oh wow.
And they have cut off and eaten his leg.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. I think
and
they did follow that in the book, in the TV show, except I don't know that he was infected, but I think they did
well,
follow that concept.
he begins to laugh hysterically and he's like, "Why did you idiots think I was wandering around in the woods by myself? Like, I'm infected and you've just all killed yourselves."
You know what? I'm trying to. I believe. No, I'm wrong. I think they did follow that concept because I do
Did they?
remember
Because
that. Yeah,
somebody else told me they did not.
I thought that they
Um,
did because I thought
that
it's been so long.
he dies, but that
Yeah,
it's like in a much less gruesome manner.
yeah. Still, I love that idea about hey, laughing at the idiots for eating you and not realizing you were infected though.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, he's quite a lot meatier than he is in the television show.
yes, exactly. And folks, if you like the zombies, uh, I'm going to put the link here.
Yeah, I just covered movies. I didn't cover television shows. I was a little bit tempted to do All of Us Are Dead because I wanted to include some more, like non-American type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it was already running so long that
Yeah, it's a Yeah, 24
Train
minutes, but it was really
Train
good.
Train Train to Busan was about the only one that ended up making it in. I've been thinking, thanks to the comments, I've been thinking about doing one that involves a lot of like the old Italian movies and things like that. But
Well, I will tell you, my wife does not like zombies movies and stuff like that. But she loved Train to Busan, and one of the things that she really loved about that was that it wasn't the Walking Dead zombies that are like like creeper zombies in Fortnite. I mean Minecraft that just barely walk and mumble. I
mhm.
mean, she liked that the zombies ran, and especially I think that's the one. Was it? I think that's the one where the first shot was a zombie deer, and anytime you see that, but it was different. We finally see zombies that move fast. World War Z, the zombies moved quickly. It was different than this.
All thanks to 28 Days Later. 28
Which was a
Days
good
Later.
movie. Yeah, go
28
ahead.
Days Later was the invention of the fast zombie.
See, I liked I liked 28 Days Later. I'm not a fan of 28 Years Later. That was that one just kind of like
What did you think of 28? What did you think of 28 Weeks Later?
which I don't remember. It's been so long since I've seen that one. That one does not come back to me. Well, 28 the one that I remember was like the military. They were out at a house in the woods. That's what I thought. I thought that was 28 days later. I think 28 weeks later was another one, and I don't remember when I saw that. But
28 Days Later is the one where the infection first happens. 28 Weeks Later is when they try and repopulate England again.
okay, yeah, I think
But they find the Typhoid Mary.
okay.
Um, and then 28 years later is all about the various mutations that have taken place.
Oh yeah, that was yeah. That was a movie that I like. I think you and I talked about a little bit. It was like, what did I just watch when I was done with it? It just, but it was
I mean, I did
yeah.
warn you that you were going to have to question your manhood after that. So
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, I really sat there like, what the hell did I just watch? All that I'm like, just like, I mean, it was like three different movies, and then they threw back at the
well,
end back to the original village.
it's one of those movies where they don't mention to you until like you've already seen the movie that, oh, by the way, there's another one.
Right. Right.
Um, so I thought this was going to be the end of a trilogy, and in fact, it's the beginning of a trilogy. The first two
God,
movies go together, and then this one is the.
I won't watch the next one. I mean, I was willing to try this one, but I
I will. I'm sort of interested. I don't. I didn't love it the way I did the first ones.
right.
Um, but once I got past the fact that it was just very strange,
Hmm.
um, I'll probably give the second one a shot. I don't know if I'll give the
Yeah.
third one a shot if it continues that way, but
Yeah.
the thing is that most people's issue is that the ending really
Yeah.
like caught them up short.
Yeah.
Um,
It
and
just it to me it just kind of ended, and it's like, and then the kid
well,
runs off. Yeah.
but
Go ahead.
so did the Fellowship of the Ring. Fellowship of the Ring
Yeah.
literally just stops,
Yeah.
and yet like that was okay. But it's the weirdness with which it stops.
Hmm. It was.
Um,
It,
and I did think afterwards, I was like, why is that so strange? And then I thought about it and I was like, this kid was abandoned when he was 10. Probably everything he thinks he knows about being a hero involves like cartoons he saw when he was 10. um, so I assume that that's the reason for the total over the top,
yeah.
fighting style stuff.
And then they brought the kid at the very beginning that was at the end. I was like 28 years later. It was just the whole thing, and it reminded me of like a Korean kung fu excessive movie with the moves, the flamboyance, or their the way they killed the zombies and stuff.
Well,
It was
that's what I mean is that like
yeah,
if you're, you know, if your entire adult upbringing has been like television you saw when you were 10 years old,
yeah.
the fact that he's alive at all is kind of amazing.
I still that movie just the way I don't know. I just was left stunned with it. But I tell you what, it's still not as bad as that friggin' Mission Impossible. That was one series of the movies I could never get in, and I went to watch this last one. I literally walked out before the final frames ended because I just like I don't know why the movies seem to be way too long, or either I don't like Tom
Well,
Cruise in certain roles or something because they just
this
seem
was
long
also
and boring.
this was
And
also
hey,
the second
Eraserhead's here.
this was
Hey,
also the second half of a two-parter. So if you didn't see the first one,
yep,
you're
that makes it.
pretty
There was a
sure.
two-parter.
Yeah.
Holy crap! I mean, I was like, that was a
Yeah,
long.
you were
That was like
probably really lost because
I
there was a
was
whole another
okay.
section.
Well, I didn't know that, but the other thing was even the end of it, it just was like it just kept going and going, and
Mhm.
I love my time in the movie theater. I don't like movies to end, but this one was kind of like end it, end it. We got to get to the end somehow. Especially
Oh
now, it's
yeah.
even worse now. Doing it's a two-parter.
I um I recently watched, so I am doing battle royale movies for my next video. And I recently watched one called Head Game, and it is definitely the worst movie I have ever seen.
I remember.
Um
Did you tweet about that? I remember. I think you
yes,
made a comment.
I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, I have a new worst movie ever." And one of the reasons is it like has more endings than Return of the King, and it earns none of them. And
Huh.
there are so many of them that I thought the movie was over and shut it off. And then went, "Wait a minute, why was there 20 minutes left on that screen?" So
I'm
I had to turn it back on and go back and rewatch, like, the endings. It has, like, 6 different endings, and none of them make any sense, and they accomplish nothing.
I gotcha, and it's a bad movie when you go to sleep during a movie. My rule of thumb is if I go after 8 o'clock, I might fall asleep, like we did with Space Cowboys once. There was one that, or Apollo 13, I fell asleep in because it was later at night, but it was too straightforward, too serious and stuff. But yeah, I don't blame you with Titanic. That you know,
I
uh,
didn't understand the point of watching Titanic 'cause everyone knew how it was gonna end. I mean, the
yeah,
ship sinks, like, it's not like there's any surprise.
DiCaprio still in take drowns and freezes to death in the end. Yeah, I'm sorry. Oh, oops,
I don't
sorry.
know,
I like
I really had an issue with the fact that um they took a like an international tragedy and turned it into like a romance novel. That
with
it
a lot
just
of nudity. With a lot of nudity. Well,
I don't even care
that
about
is a good
that.
point. Well, I know, but still, I had to laugh about that whole premise. But like you said, it's based on a tragedy. Well, let's kick a issue with that. I know we're kind of like we've talked about some little issues, but tonight we're kind of surveying things. We'll have to probably focus on battle royale. Maybe when I watch a few on a more
Yeah, I need to
specific.
actually start wrapping up here a little bit because
Yeah,
I'm getting
that works. Yeah, I see. I Ghostbusters answered the call. That's funny, but um the use of AI to portray people that are no longer alive. That is, I mean, I know it bothers my oldest kid immensely, and I think there's been a lot of talk about topics about the ethics of it and stuff like that. See, I'm kind of split on that issue because how do you have Rogue One with Grand Moff Tarkin without somebody that looks and talks like Peter Cushing? You really can't, you know. Um, how do you feel on this issue? We're only going to be able to kick the tires on this one, but do you have a problem with it? I mean, some people are like, okay, well, they sell away their rights and all, and the family's okay, then there's no big deal. Who cares? Because the family is going to benefit financially from it. But uh, do you have any feelings on that, one way or the other?
What did you think about Star Trek Unification?
I did. I have not seen that one.
Yeah, see, it's hard to answer that question if you haven't seen that
Yeah.
because that was created by the families It was done with the approval of all of the families. It's
Mm-hmm.
an amazing fan piece. It did in 10 minutes what the last 4 series have failed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so like it's very hard to look at that situation and say that
Mm-hmm.
there's anything wrong with it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that if you look at, I mean, I know this is blasphemy. I did not mind some of the cameos at the end of Flash. I thought they were interesting.
Right. I remember
Um,
seeing. Yeah.
but I also think that if you were like Christopher Reeves and you said, oh yeah, I'll sign away my rights because I think I'm looking at, being on posters to advertise the movie. And there's
Mm-hmm.
no possible way for you to predict how technology would develop to today.
Right.
Um, I think that gets kind of sketchy.
Yeah.
Um, and I think requiring like you have to sign away all of your rights with people that now understand that today and saying you have to do this or you're never going to work, I don't approve of at all because then you're basically saying unless you give us the right to do away with actors forever, um, we're not going to let you have a job.
Yeah, no, I got you. Well, yeah, and one of the roles that really hit me the most was about the timing, like with Carrie Fisher as Princess Leia and the the last whatever movie you call from Star Wars of the Jet of Skywalker, you know, because she had passed away, and then they made her. They had it with Princess Leia was more in the movie, but then there was so much that was CGI'd and in there. It's just
Well, I mean, if you want to say, okay, we're making a trilogy, I want you to sign away your likeness for these 3 movies so that if something happens to you, we can still finish the movies. That I don't necessarily have an issue with.
mm-hmm,
I have an issue with we get your image and your voice for the rest of history to do anything we want with.
mm-hmm,
Like that I don't think is okay.
mm-hmm. Right. Okay. Well, like I said, we're going to have to wrap up because Goat has to leave. We're about 8 minutes away from 2.5 hours. See,
Yeah.
once again, we can go. We get started. We could go 4 or 6 hours or something and keep going.
Well, the
But
difference is we covered different topics this time. We actually stayed to the same topic for 3 hours at a time the other times. So
I know. But this is kind of like a different type. We always call them about the squirrel streams, jumping tree to tree, nut to nut, where we bounce to different topics as they come and all. And hopefully you've had fun with this too.
yeah,
A little
I
bit of
did.
different format because
But I
kind
now
of.
I now desperately need sleep. So
I know. Well, let me let you. Can we hit Oliver's comment real here? Talking about, or am I referring to the violent R8? Yes, that's what Battle Royale
it,
is.
it
What
actually was R15.
R15? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
Um
so there's both Battle Royale and Battle Royale Requiem. There's two
I
of
know
them,
there is a second battle royale, but it was not made by the same writer or director.
right?
Um he started on a sequel and then I think died of cancer or something like
Mm,
that. And so they made the other one, and I haven't seen it. My
yeah.
understanding is it's pretty terrible.
I tried to find it and stuff, and I tried to find a few of these movies I looked up, but I didn't have them on Netflix. And my Amazon just depends on if we have the right level of it. So it's
The
so
I wish people had seen the Belko experiment because I think it would be kind of
I looked for
entertaining.
that one. I looked for that one, but I could not find it
So
either.
so the Belko experiment in some ways is actually even like more horrifying than Battle Royale. Um,
Oh, interesting.
it's much like Battle Royale has a couple of sections that are kind of semi dark humored.
Hmm.
Belko experiment there is like nothing funny at all.
Wow.
Um, So every time someone says James Gunn can't do anything other than these like comedic slapstick movies, I laugh because he wrote the Belko experiment.
Oh, really?
Um,
Yeah.
and it writing it bothered him so bad he turned down directing it. It's the only reason he didn't direct it.
Oh, interesting. Wow.
Um, it's that dark. He's like, nope, I dreamt it, I wrote it, I'm not directing it.
That yeah, yeah. You probably get so tied into it, yeah, and just it's like it's. I think that's an acceptable and understandable reaction. You know, you go to such a dark place trying to write something, then it's like, do I really want to put this stuff back in my brain again? And it's yeah,
Yeah.
no.
Yep.
As I said,
Um,
Japanese body horror has some good films too. So
yeah, there's a lot of interesting. The thing is, I'm not crazy about horror that's just gross.
right,
Um, in the
you
course
don't.
of doing
So
this,
you don't like slasher movies, right?
it's not even slasher movies that are an issue because I mean sometimes you get slasher movies that have so like the first Saw movie was very claustrophobic. It was very psychological. There was the mystery about who was behind it all. And then all of the other Saw movies were just like who can come up with the grossest concept.
Right,
Um,
right.
and it didn't have that same sense of. I mean, honestly, that those were just better as low budget movies. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and now we have 10 of them, so you know. But like
Yeah.
Vile was on my list of movies to watch for Battle Royale, and I got 20 minutes into it, and I was like, nope. I was
Yep.
like, it's just it's they tried to use the Battle Royale format, but realistically, they wanted to make a Saw movie.
Yeah, we have some friends, a friend that likes the Saw movie. I can't get into stuff like that. I have a limit to what I can do. I can watch some of the violent stuff, and so, but some of those it's just torturing and things like that. You know, and I think that in some ways with the Hunger Games, they probably sanitized it so much. To, I mean,
Well,
had they shown it like the book, it probably would have grossed a lot of people out, a lot more, scare a lot more people.
I mean, Battle Royale worked, Hunger Games worked, Belko Experiment worked because it talks about the relationship between the people involved.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, you cared about various characters and their interactions with each other. Vile was terrible because there's like no relationship. It's just like one guy, his pregnant girlfriend, he doesn't know she's pregnant until halfway through. All the others are pretty well strangers.
Yeah.
Um, and there's nothing about their relationship other than what they need to make the plot go forward. The rest of it is just like, hey, you have to torture each other for X
Yeah.
amount of time, and one of them immediately goes, "Great," and grabs a knife and starts stabbing people. Like
Oh, geez.
it's just gore. Like
Yeah.
it's there's nothing interesting about it.
Bowsette said the rest are garbage. Didn't even know there's 10 of them. So there's quite a few. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap up now. We got about 3 minutes. I like to get the nice round numbers. We are at almost, we're 2 minutes away from 2.5 hours. Once again, Goat, the time flies. And, you know, like I said, I hope you enjoyed having kind of like using the force and bouncing from place to place naturally. And hopefully you've had a good time with us tonight.
I did.
All right.
I used this
Hmm?
picture was still up from yesterday, and when I put it up, the first thing that came up in the comments was, "Look, we get a face reveal."
Oh, I love the sticking the tongue out at them. So, but also we're gonna go check out the Eclectic Goats channel. But check out this video history on the video of zombies and movies. Do you want to say anything quick about that, real quick?
Not a lot. It was probably one of the most fun videos I've made. I really enjoyed putting it together, and I'm really glad that it's been doing well. I put it up a couple of weeks ago, and it's still climbing, so
Wow,
it's got
nice.
some legs.
Was it
It's
over a
begun.
thousand views?
We're over 1,500.
Wow,
Um,
nice.
so it's beginning to taper a little bit. So I'm hoping that I can hurry up and get Battle Royale done, so that'll drop just about the time everybody's sick of the zombie one.
Well, it's a
Um,
very good video, folks. So check it out. It
and
really, really is cool. And here's your link
the
to your channel too, though.
yes, thank you.
Mhm.
I do want to mention real quick, if that's all right.
Yeah.
On Tuesday, this coming Tuesday at 2 o'clock Eastern time, which
Hmm.
I think works out to 7 o'clock UK time. I am going to be doing kind of a special live stream. Um, Grim Jim, who was on my Slice and Dice a couple of times, he writes role playing games.
Hmm.
Random film talk. is a YouTuber who has considering that he agreed to come on my show, for me, it's an astonishingly large following. He's a very, very good critic. He's very balanced.
Mm,
He does do, movies he doesn't like, but he has very good reasons for why he doesn't like them, as opposed to, screaming
yeah,
woke garbage over and over again.
right.
And I've got a couple of feelers out to artists, and we're going to talk about antagonists, villains, what makes them different, how their motivations differ, and how to write good ones in various forms of media. So,
Absolutely.
so
And
I'm really hoping we'll get lots of people for that one, because it's
great
going to be
discussions, folks.
it's going to be a
Yeah,
very cool discussion.
yeah.
And I'm
Very,
I'm
very in
very
depth.
honored. I'm very honored to have both of them come
Oh
on.
yeah, because you get professional guests in there, and I'm sitting there, whether it's tabletop gaming or the other entertainment. I'm just sitting there like some kind of just blown away about the conversation, just trying to catch up. But it's folks, and you're over 600 now subscribers. I was like, wow, you've really grown. So, folks, check out the Goat's channel over there at the link. Well, I had the link up. Did I take? Oh crap! I guess dang it. I guess I unstarted. But let's see. Let me get back to. Let me. I got your channel link up here. I want to put it out one more time. But Goat, thank you for coming on again. Much appreciated. And we just
Yes,
have so
thank you.
much fun with this, and the time just flies by all the time. That's
Yeah, and
that
there've been lots of new people in the chat that I hadn't seen before, so it was very nice to meet you all.
exactly. So I want to let y'all know to also subscribe to the Eclectic Goat over there. Not the Electric Goat, but hey, I it took me a while to get to use that too. But yes, check out her channel, subscribe over there. And of course, you never know. Maybe in a couple months she'll pop up over here again. The way we're going, so. But yeah, which is fun. Every stream has been a lot of fun with you, and I appreciate you being willing to come on and talk about your channel, and the things of interest to both of us. So I thank you, Goat. As far as what I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say it's been great fun.
Absolutely, always is. Well, folks, what's going on my channel? I have no scheduled streams till Monday. Monday will be back at around 6 p.m. with Fortnite with Jess, Duos with Jess. Tuesday night at 9 p.m. we'll be back with Sports with JT Kirk. Next Wednesday, we will be back with Wes Cagle, Go West Dadman at 8 p.m. And next Thursday, we're going to be with Erica and Raph. Come check out that discussion. It'll be a chilling with stream. Somebody new that popped on a chat or two with us recently. I've appeared with her on Lorena Creel's Sunday night show. So hopefully y'all can come back and watch that next Thursday. They're not saying that there will be no streams this weekend. There may be a stream tomorrow night or maybe on Saturday. And of course, you never know when I decide to go live with Fortnite. But on that note, folks, one last time, yes, as Oliver says, till next time, good night to all. Good night, Goat. And everybody, y'all have a wonderful night, and we will see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Have a good night.